So, good evening, everybody. So, real quick, tonight we're going to start with a training session. And so, Jill Carlson, I see that person raising her hand. So, and topic is geological survey, so Colorado Geo surveys. Yeah, if you don't mind. If folks don't mind, please turn off your cell phones. Thank you.
Oops. Hi. I want to thank Jennifer and Kelsey and Danny for inviting me here tonight to address the Elbert County Planning Commission. My name is Jill Carlson. I am an engineering geologist with the Colorado Geological Survey. We are currently a small non-academic department on the campus of the Colorado School of Mines, but before 2013, we were part of the Department of Natural Resources. As a result of the downturn in 2008, we had to find a new home, and we found a new home in Golden at Mines. We are non-academic. We are all about applied geology and protecting people and property in Colorado from the impacts of geologic hazards, problematic subsurface conditions, and helping the state, helping guide responsible development of mineral fuels and geothermal and water resources throughout the state. So I'm going to put some cards and some stickers up on the table for you to take, and then I'll come back and tell you more about us. Okay, so CGS, we do geologic mapping of quadrangles throughout the state. That's 1 to 24,000, or 1 inch equals 2,000 foot geologic mapping. Those are for both pure information, but then we also take those maps and do interpretation on them to help identify areas of geologic hazards, things like landslides, rockfall hazards. We take the geology plus the terrain and think about slope movement, rockfall, things like that. We have a hydrogeology group that helps counties evaluate their groundwater resources. We have, like I said, the minerals and mineral fuels and geothermal group doing, just helping figure out where do we have frac sands, where would be a good place to drill to evaluate the geothermal potential. And then we have my program, Land Use. There's 3 of us, 3 engineering geologists who review proposed subdivisions, school sites, and matters of state interest throughout the state of Colorado. Elbert County is one of our customers. Thank you, Jennifer, Danny, and Kelsey. They've all gotten letters from us. By state statute, we are required to look at 4 types of development activities. Proposed subdivisions that'll produce lots of less than 35 acres in unincorporated areas of the state. We are supposed to review those at preliminary plat. We would like to be included on reviews sooner than preliminary plat at rezoning or concept plan or sketch plan, so that we can provide comments before the applicant or developer gets too deep into their lot layout and infrastructure plans, civil plans. So subdivision reviews. Then 1041 matters of state interest. That is frequently things like dams, big roads, I-70 widening. I think Idaho Springs sent us a 1041 application for the current widening that's happening and the realignment along I-70. Solar facilities, wind farms, 1041 matters of state interest. and things like that, things of that nature. Then also major municipal activities, those don't apply to this group. Those are actions involving 5 acres or more in incorporated areas of the state, municipalities. And then school sites, new proposed school sites and school additions and modifications that involve a change in building footprint. Those are the 4 things that we're required to be referred on. The important thing to remember is that our comments, our reviews, are advisory, not regulatory. So the county is free to heed or disregard our comments at its peril. I will tell you that we are very cognizant of property owner rights, development rights, the existence of already platted lots and what's going to be done with those lots. We are mostly, in Elbert County, we're very lucky. You don't have historic coal undermining. That's 80%. That makes my job 80% easier in this county right off the bat. You don't have super steep slopes, which lead to rockfall hazards, landslide hazards, debris inundation hazards coming out of, big drainage, out of drainages. So again, very, Elbert County is significantly less problematic than most other areas of Colorado. What we do look at is drainages, setbacks from drainages, to avoid not just flooding hazards, but also erosion hazards, and the echo is a little bit disconcerting, so I keep losing my train of thought. Erosion, flooding, and slumping hazards. You can get slumping on, even though the slopes above smaller drainages like we have here aren't very tall or steep, you can still get erosion at the base and slumping. So we like to see a setback from the crest of the slopes above drainages. And that's why we'd rather look at development applications earlier than preliminary plats so that we can help recommend setbacks from those drainages. Drainages don't just have surface hazards. They tend to remain conduits for subsurface groundwater flow even after they've been graded and filled in. So where basements are proposed, we look at groundwater observations if they're available. If there's a site-specific geotechnical report, we'll always look at the groundwater observations, and then lab testing results. I think, we've all lived in places in Colorado that have pavement. Pavement tends to misbehave. We've got expansive and compressible and collapsible soils. Let me give you a little geology lesson. What you see at the surface is the top of the superficial deposits. Those are usually sand, gravel, silt, and clay deposited by wind or rivers or by gravity coming off of slopes. Then underneath of those soft superficial deposits is the bedrock. Some areas of Colorado have bedrock right at the surface, like the Rocky Mountains, and like down at Castlewood Canyon State Park, beautiful exposures of the underlying bedrock. Here in Elbert County, you have to drill to see the bedrock, to get any information or insight into the bedrock below the superficial soils. And mostly it's interbedded claystones and sandstones of Denver Formation or Dawson Arcos, or maybe some Castle Rock conglomerate out toward the west. The claystone fraction can be expansive. When claystone and clay soils get wet, because of the way that the minerals are oriented, they're like imagine what is the pastry that you make croissants out of, the laminated pastry dough. Those layers, water gets sucked into those layers, causes them to swell. And then when they dry out, they shrink again. That's what's happening when your pavement is misbehaving. Your driveway slab might pop a little bit after a wet season. That's expansive soils at work, and we need to characterize those and mitigate them. Geotechnical consultants these days are mostly recommending over-excavation and homogenization of those clayey soils to pre-wet and just kind of even out the swell potential. So we will, when I do a review for Kelsey, Danny, or Jennifer, or one of your contract planners, I will look at the geologic maps. I'll look at the soil survey data, we're very flexible in what we get from planners, because we have lots of our own resources that we can call on to determine what the hazards and potential geotechnical or subsurface constraints might be, the problems. So that's, our work product is generally a letter to the planner, even though the applicants or developers pay our review fees, because Colorado many years ago determined that development needs to pay its own way. So we are required to recover the direct costs of conducting these statutory land use reviews and whatever the counties and municipalities send to us. But our customer is the planner, the county or municipal planner. It's awkward, but we are, again, very cognizant of the burden that our review places on applicants and developers, and we only invoice for actual time or the flat fee depending on the acreage of the project. And I like to think that our superpower is communicating technical concepts about geologic hazards and geotechnical constraints in non-technical language that's understandable by planners, by commissioners, by applicants, developers, and maybe even future, purchasers. So that's pretty much the program. At this point, I'll open it up for questions. We can talk about geology. We can talk about the land use review program. We can talk about specific applications that, have come through Elbert County. The development pressure here is significant. So again, I am so thankful that we don't have historic coal undermining and steep slopes to worry about. But the expansion into Elbert County from the west is so far going well, as far as I can tell. The county is being great about listening to our comments, factoring in our comments to, slight modifications to lot layouts to avoid drainages and problematic areas identified in the geotech report.
Fantastic. Did I hear you say that you had 3 people?
There's 3
in
of
land
us.
use?
3 technical reviewers and 2 admins.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. We're hopping.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. What's the workload like?
I'm sorry?
What's the workload like?
We
putting out a week or a month?
We receive about 3 to 5 new referrals each day, each weekday to our inbox. We have a inbox that we receive these referrals at because they would get buried and lost in any one of our personal inboxes too quickly. So we have an admin who monitors that inbox, and we get anywhere from 3 to 5 referrals each day. We do get quite a few resubmittals. Like if I review something for the county at concept plan or sketch plan, we will often see it again at preliminary plat and even again at final plat. Hopefully by final plat, all of our comments have been addressed. We don't have any outstanding concerns or comments. So, those we don't really need to do much work on. But yeah, we're very busy.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it. The other thing I heard was that you hope that the county listens, and that word bothers me, hope, in this case, right? Because you can be telling them the story that this is going to cause a significant problem, And if they're not listening, if the developer's not listening, if the homeowner's not listening, they acknowledge and accept the risk at some level. Does that ever get processed that way as an acceptance of risk?
Because we're not regulatory, because we are advisory, all we can do is comment and make recommendations. It's up to the planner and the applicant and the commissioners and then down the road, the county building department, to help ensure that those comments are heeded and implemented. We have to live with a fair amount of, uncertainty, and there's uncertainty at every stage. We get a lot of questions about, well, can you tell me how much this review is going to cost? And my answer is not until I look at it and see what is proposed over how big of an area, what do the topographic conditions look like, what do we know about the geology, and how much information are you going to give us to review and process. It's almost better if in some cases when we don't get much to review, because then we can just say, we think that X, Y, and Z are going to be problems. And then hopefully, when that comes back at preliminary plat, there should be a geotechnical report addressing X, Y, and Z. But we look at everything that we get, and we make recommendations about what else to ask for, how to revise the plat to avoid areas that we think should be avoided based on the topography, the borings, the lab test results, things like that.
Fantastic. That's a lot of data to cover. Any other questions?
Yeah, thank you for all that information. I can tell you love what you do.
I do.
And you do a good job explaining it. So thank you.
Thank you.
I was just curious. You said that in your experience, it's always better if you come into the process earlier rather than later. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like Elbert County does a good job bringing you in early enough in the process?
Yes, okay. They do. Yes.
Great.
We see rezonings. I think Independence is a great example of a project that we have reviewed. We reviewed the overall project, and then as filings got submitted, we reviewed it on a filing specific basis. Some of those came in with updated geotech, higher density of borings. So the system in Elbert County is working exactly like we like to see it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yes.
And would you say that Elbert County does a good job, listening to the council of the geological?
Yes, they do. Yes, I get. I know that they're forwarding our review comments to the applicant because I will then get follow-up questions from the applicant. For technical questions, I'm happy to talk to the applicant and help work through potential or identified concerns. But if they want us to review something new, if they respond, they can't just send us a response directly. Any response, any new or revised or updated geotech has to come through the planner, and that's to ensure that the county has the same reports, maps, documents that we're reviewing. So that becomes part of the project file. I'm happy to talk to them, have a conversation with them, meet with them. But if they provide anything new that responds to our comments or that they want us to review, that has to come through the county.
Okay, that's helpful.
Yeah.
And would you say, I know you mentioned we've seen a lot of growth and there's lots more growth scheduled for the next 10, 20, 30 years here.
Yeah.
What would you say is kind of a hazard or a pattern of hazard advice to avoid hazardous situations that you continue to see in projects here in Elbert County?
The two key things in Elbert County are setbacks from drainages and getting a little bit of insight into subsurface conditions early on through just some kind of investigation, ideally some borings, but we also have an archive of sites that we've looked at since the land use laws were enacted back in the 1970s. So we have all of the geotech reports that have ever been submitted to us as part of land use review referrals to call on. So we continue to receive and archive those, and those give us insight into the engineering properties of the subsurface materials. We've got geologic maps. We have LiDAR now. LiDAR is a phenomenal tool for doing analysis on. I can generate a hillshade and see more in a LiDAR hillshade that I can see standing on the ground, trying to see through the vegetation on a site.
Is that a program, or what is it that the LiDAR?
LiDAR is it's a raster of a point cloud data set. In raster format that you can do analysis on, and it gives you the elevation of, that end of the table and the middle of the table, and that would look flat. And then the floor, if we did a LiDAR imagery on this room, we'd be able to see the table, the people sitting at the table. The raster, you can't make sense of, but you can do processing on that raster in a GIS program and get a hillshade, calculate slopes. It's a phenomenal tool. And then the geologic mapping, and then also Google Earth Street View saves me a lot of windshield time. And Google Earth, I don't know if you know, but Google Earth has a little time machine button. It looks like a clock with a backwards arrow, and you can navigate to your area of interest, open up the time machine, and click back through time to see what the previous uses have been on a site. I can see stock ponds. You will always see me, if there's a stock pond on a site being proposed for development, I will almost always recommend that stock pond, that the embankment be demolished, because we don't want water piling up behind that dam and potentially flooding, homes and buildings adjacent to that. So we have so many tools now to rely upon.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. This didn't take nearly long enough.
No worries. Any other questions?
Geology questions?
Not so much a question, but appreciate your time and energy to do this. This has been very insightful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I love this part of Colorado. I've lived and worked all over the country, landed in Colorado about 26 years ago and said, this is it, I'm staying. And I've been with the survey now for that long, for 26 years, and there's no place better to be a geologist. And to feel like I'm having an impact. There's many different fields of geology. Danny mentioned marine geology. There are hydrogeologists, mineral geologists, just so many different kinds of geologists, but engineering geologists are the ones, making sure that people are protected from bad stuff happening in the ground. So thank you very much. I will leave all those cards and stickers. Have at it. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, I'll call the meeting to order at 6:23 and some change. We'll start off like we do every meeting, with a prayer and a pledge. So if you don't mind, please join us in a prayer and a pledge of allegiance. And if you don't mind uncovering, thank you. Heavenly Father, as we gather today for the Planning Commission meeting, we humbly ask for your guidance and wisdom in our deliberations. Grant us discernment to see the needs of our community clearly and the foresight to make decisions that promote responsible development while honoring the character of our county. May our discussions be respectful, thoughtful, and focused on the greater good. Help us to listen attentively to all perspectives, weigh options with fairness, and ultimately choose what is best for the future of our community. We thank you for your presence today with us and ask that you bless our work today. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. With that, let's go ahead and get a roll call.
Roll call. Dan Guthrie.
Present.
Ken Madsen.
Here.
Dan McCallan. Dan McAllen, absent. Kyle DiNardo,
Here.
Nicole Hunt,
Here.
John Gresham,
Here.
Dee Dee Schott Grace, Robert Politic,
Here.
Kevin Kirkwood.
Present.
Thank you. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Did everybody get a chance to sign in if you're going to talk later? Fantastic. Thank you. With that, do we have a staff report?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon or good evening, commissioners. Two quick items that have gone before your Board of County Commissioners since your last meeting that you all heard. The Freedom Valley Ranch plat, as well as the V Hill family final plat. Those were both heard before the BOCC and were approved. That's all I have for you.
Perfect. Thank you. With that, I'll open the floor to citizen comments. These are comments that do not pertain to the matters at hand tonight. So if you would like to speak on anything other than the matters at hand. I don't see anybody jumping up to the microphone, so thank you very much. We'll close the citizens' comments. Did everybody get a chance to read the meeting minutes from July 7th? Any changes? Fantastic. Okay, let's hear a motion.
A motion to approve the meeting minutes from July 7th, 2026.
Fantastic. In a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll just abstain since I wasn't here.
Fantastic. Thank you. With that, we're going to start the public hearing process. What this body does is take a look at the materials presented today, the items presented, and make a quasi-judicial review and opinion on what is presented in front of us today. With that, we are hopeful that we can get to the place where we can make a decision to recommend either approval, denial, or approval with additional activities. All testimony that we hear today should be competent, on topic, and not repetitive. So we'll open the public hearing, and we'll start with the Ridge at Spring Valley Metro District Service Plan, SD 2026-002, and staff is going to be reporting.
I'm actually going to stand in for Lance at the moment. He apologizes for not being able to attend tonight. He did have a prior commitment. But I do have some language from him, so just imagine that I am him. He wanted you to know that he did review and provide comments on project SD 2026-0002, an application to approve a service plan or plans for the Ridge at Spring Valley Metropolitan District. Service plan recommendations are based on Elbert County zoning regulations, Article 16, and refer solely to the statutory approval criteria found in Section 32.1.203, Number 2 of the Colorado Revised Statutes. The applicant is present to present the reasons they believe they comply with all such criteria and why the Planning Commission should recommend approval to the BOCC.
Fantastic. Thank you. Jim, would you like to present? Nope.
I'll say a few words later.
I know you're shy like that. So.
Yeah.
He's kindly letting me start out tonight, so I'll go ahead. And Ms. Jones, if you don't mind pulling up the presentation, whenever works well.
1 second.
Because I enjoy a good picture, so hopefully that helps guide us along today. Wonderful. So just to introduce, although I've had the pleasure of meeting and presenting before you before, my name is Carly Ogden. I'm with Eisenagel, Sieber, Pogue, and we have the pleasure of representing the applicant for the hearing today. We just want to start by extending our thanks to the county, Ms. Jones standing in for Mr. Ingalls, and for their assistance and patience through the submittal process. So as discussed, we'll be providing an overview of the proposed consolidated service plan for the Ridge at Spring Valley Metropolitan Districts numbers 1 1 through 5. So this is for 5 distinct separate legal entities operating under a single service plan with the authorities and limitations shared between them all. The emphasis being on coordination between the districts while maintaining flexibility to reflect the phasing and timing of a project of this type. So to give you just an overview, the developer owner applicant is Spring Valley Land Investments. We have Jim with us tonight. The financial advisor, Piper Sandler, legal counsel, Eisenagel Seaver Pogue, and then the engineer, 2N Civil LLC. Some of this overview and structure is similar to one that I presented last month for Coyote Ridge Metropolitan District, but also just reinforces the role that special districts play in development. And then just wanted to note that the existing service plans within the county were used as a model when preparing this consolidated service plan before you today. So to just better orient the Planning Commission to what we're looking at today, this is a vicinity map showing the proximity of the proposed districts to County Road 174 and 21, as well as 174 and 29. This is also included as Exhibit A to the service plan. But I think what's most helpful here are the proposed initial boundaries of the district. So this is chosen to reflect the anticipated phases of development of public and specifically public improvement within the districts. So you'll see in the case of District 1, it's smaller and intended to encompass the water and wastewater infrastructure improvements that are anticipated to be constructed within the development. I also want to note that this service plan does include an inclusion area just to provide additional flexibility to better reflect the actual development. So this inclusion area allows the districts to adjust their boundaries in accordance with statute within this specific area. So as plats and different land use approvals move forward, the districts can adapt to actually reflect those areas. And I do want to note that any boundary changes that would involve property outside of this area would require prior notice to the county. So just some more information about the underlying project and the timeline here, while acknowledging that land use is being handled separately from the service plan consideration here. But again, just a better world view, we're looking at a 1,100 acre parcel, a portion of which is going through the preliminary plat phase and expected to consist of 633 single-family residential units. So the public hearing with the Board of County Commissioners is anticipated for September. If approved, we look at formation elections this year in November, with order and decrees expected in December, and then organization meetings for each of these districts likely in January. Also important with these districts is the interplay with other adjacent districts. So these districts are not within the boundaries of a water and sanitation district. So it's anticipated that one or more of these districts will enter into an intergovernmental agreement with Spring Valley Metropolitan District Number 1. And then these districts would be responsible for financing and construction of the water and sanitation system improvements necessary to serve the various phases of the development. Once constructed, it's anticipated that these improvements will be dedicated to Spring Valley Metro District Number 1, with Spring Valley taking over as owner and operating and maintaining these improvements. Spring Valley Metropolitan District Number 1 would then be responsible for distributing the water, collecting sewage, and otherwise servicing and billing users within the boundaries of these districts. I also want to note the overlapping districts. The property within the proposed districts is within the boundaries of both Rattlesnake Fire Protection District as well as the Elizabeth Park and Recreation District. The districts here will not be providing any duplicate services or otherwise interfering with the services of these existing districts and what they provide. A limit that is also explicitly included in the service plan. There is a carve out for fire hydrants and related improvements that are necessarily tied with the water system, as well as landscaping tracks and some open space and pocket parks. Each of these districts were provided with copies. Rattlesnake Fire Protection District did not provide comments or concerns, but recently Elizabeth Park and Rec District expressed a desire to have an overlap consent agreement. So we're coordinating with their council about what they would like moving forward, and we'll make sure to keep the county updated as that progresses. Just returning to foundationally metropolitan districts generally, districts are created to serve a public use and promote the health, safety, and welfare of future inhabitants and property owners, all with the goal of thoughtful and intentional development consistent with the concept of new growth paying for new growth. through allowing access to longer-term funding as well as lower interest rates. This allows the district rather than the county or other entity to fund necessary public improvements. Looking at district responsibilities, and speaking of public improvements, we're looking at notable water and sanitation improvements, including a wastewater treatment plant expansion, wells, MG tank, pump house, as well as pumps. You'll also see roadway improvements, drainage improvements, and then parks, trails, and landscaping, all to be dedicated to the county or other appropriate party as set forth in the ultimate approved development plan and consistent with county codes. The districts can operate and maintain any improvements that are not otherwise conveyed or accepted by another entity, and the county will not be responsible for any interior roadways. There is an HOA plan to be used for covenant enforcement and other services that are more traditionally seen and handled by HOAs. When looking at the special district service plan, I just want to note that Title 32 contains a list of what the service plan must contain. So a lot of what you see within the service plan itself is statutorily required content. And then we've also worked with staff and Anderson Analytics to address county concerns with these submittals and made corresponding revisions. And now to consider debt limitations and other financial impacts. All 5 districts have an aggregate total debt limit of $128,800,000, with the estimated total cost of public improvements of around $134 million. And I broke down there districts 1 through 5, the anticipated and estimated improvement costs, but that's made much more clear and broken down with descriptions in Exhibit D of the service plan, which I believe is page 48 of your packet, in case that is helpful. Costs that are not financed by the district are anticipated to be financed by the developer or the home builder. The maximum debt service mill levy is 65 mills, subject to adjustment, but can convert to an uncapped mill levy once the debt is equal to or less than 50% of the assessed valuation. Returning to fund pictures, here's just a conceptual lotting plan, but it's helpful to see the expected interior roadways as well as the balance struck between lots, as well as open space. And again, because water and sanitation public improvements are so important with this development, you'll also see a breakdown of the estimated costs and the work that will be going into those, again, shown in Exhibit D of the service plan. There's always a desire to ensure that potential buyers and property owners are aware of the districts as well as the services they provide. So I just want to highlight some of the both statutory as well as the service plan disclosures and transparency requirements. There are annual reports provided to the district as well as filed with other governmental entities. There's an annual transparency notice. There's a consolidated district website with statutorily required documents of the district that are uploaded and publicly available, as well as the Division of Local Government and the Office of State Auditor that similarly have corresponding district documents that are uploaded and publicly available. There are also separate requirements on home builders within the development under Title 38 that include information about the district for potential purchasers. And again, just want to emphasize that your consideration of the service plan here is separate from the necessary land use approval, and approval here does not imply approval of the development of the property as it goes through its own separate approval process. Looking at the bond structure and repayment, there's a projected issuance under the numerical plan of 2027 to fund initial public improvements with a refunding process in 2037 phase to better support the new development. And we're looking at interest rates about 4 to 5% respectively. Any debt would be issued in accordance with state law and Special District Act, and the numerical plan that's included in Exhibit E and detailed just more generally here is an example of the application of the financial plan that as included in the service plan. In addition to directing what needs to be included within the service plan, the Special District Act also sets forward the criteria to be used when considering approval of the service plan, and the staff report also sets this out as well. So I'll walk through these. The first criteria is that there is a sufficient existing and projected need for organized service in the area to be serviced by the proposed special districts. There's a demand for thoughtful, well-coordinated, and maintained residential development that pays for itself, and the construction of necessary public improvements is needed to sufficiently serve public residents, particularly water and sanitation improvements. And the districts will maintain public improvements that are not otherwise accepted by other governmental entities. The second criteria we're looking at is whether the existing service in the area to be served by the proposed districts is inadequate for present and projected needs. There are no other parties that are able to undertake financing and construction of these necessary public improvements. And I just want to note the benefits of coordination for efficiency and cost savings where possible between the districts and Spring Valley Metropolitan District Number 1 for water and sanitation improvements and services. The districts have the ability to provide such funding as a proven statutorily regulated funding mechanism, going hand in hand with construction and operation and maintenance. Looking at criteria 3, the proposed special districts are capable of providing economic and sufficient service to the area of the proposed boundaries. So the estimated future costs and mill levies are in line with comparable residential districts and also contemplate current anticipated construction costs. The districts will provide adequate and perpetual maintenance of these improvements that are not otherwise dedicated. And again, just want to point to the numerical plan included in the service plan as an example of the economic viability of these districts, which bring us into the next slide about financial ability. And again, just want to emphasize that any debt issued and then the financing plan of the districts generally are subject to limitations of the bond industry, bond council, and limitations under the service plan as well as state statute. Even more criteria 5th is whether adequate service is not or will not otherwise be available to the area through other existing entities, including existing special district within a reasonable time and on a comparable basis. And again, similar to prior criteria discussed, but for these districts, the necessary public improvements could not be constructed or maintained. Criteria 6, facility and service standards of the proposed districts are comparable with the facility and service standards of each county in which the proposed districts are to be located. And I just want to note that this service plan in particular contains language that any construction that is completed by the districts must be completed in accordance with the standards and specifications of the county, including its necessary approvals and permitting process. 7 and 8, we combined, discussing compliance with the master plan as well as the water quality plan, and again, emphasizing that the underlying property still has to go through the land use approval process and is subject to all zoning, building code, and other land use requirements. Criteria 9, best interest of the creation of the proposed districts will be in the best interest of the area proposed to be served. These districts are necessary for the financing, construction, and ongoing operation and maintenance of public improvements for this development, all to ensure and promote the health, safety, and general welfare of its future inhabitants. And so what we're proposing and requesting from the Planning Commission today is a recommending approval of the service plan without modification to the Board of County Commissioners. And again, just setting forth kind of the anticipated timeline related to these districts. And again, just want to thank you all for your time and county staff for the time and look forward to answering any questions that the Commission may have.
So now you can see why I let Carly speak. She covered all the bases pretty well. I just want to explain one of the things that drove us to work on this together with Spring Valley is obviously Spring Valley's already got a wastewater plant. We've already got water facilities. There's some economies of scale here when you put the two projects together. Spring Valley's not quite 60% built out right now, but this project is viewed as a continuation of the Spring Valley project and the builders that are in Spring Valley. So again, I think Carly covered all the bases really well. There's the state does a really good job of requiring disclosure and statutes require us to publicly disclose everything we do. Our financials are public. Our meetings are public. It's a very public process. So again, we're just asking for the approval for the service plans tonight. We still have other approvals to get on that project. The preliminary plat is in process right now, and that'll, I think we're just getting ready to hopefully schedule some hearing dates for that sooner than later. But it's there's lots of work ahead of us still. There's several public meetings still as far as plating is concerned. And again, Carly's here, and I'm here to answer any questions you have, explain anything that might be concerning or confusing. And I think that's about it.
Thanks, Carly. Thanks, Jim. With that, I'd like to open the hearing for the public process, public part of this, which is the public testimony. If there are folks that would like to speak out on this project, please come to the stand, state your name, your address, and you'll have 5 minutes. Very quiet audience today. Thank you. With that, I will close the public comments, and we'll go to the board-only discussion. John, we'll start with you today. Any questions that you have?
No, I have no questions.
Thank you. Dan?
Just one for starters. I was looking at your delivery plan. You've got about 15 years worth of expectation there. In the event that the market slows down, are you prepared for extending that to how long? Financially?
Well, Spring Valley is a great example. Nobody saw subprime coming in 2007, and I don't think we sold a house. We had builders that continued to sell into about 2008 or 9. It was very, very slow. And as I think most of you probably will remember, that was a pretty ugly time financially. Spring Valley is still being built out today. And the projections that we might have believed back in 2005, 6, and 7 obviously didn't come to pass. I think it was about a 6 or 7 year period where we sold virtually no homes, and we didn't have any public builders out there. So we just, we continue, you just push things out. And the one thing that I want to point out here, I'm glad you asked that question. We have 5 districts here. One is the operations district. The other 4 are the bonding districts. So what I'm trying not to issue more debt than I have to before I have to. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Number one is it maximizes my debt capacities in the long run. And number 2, if we do go through a tough time, we're not accruing a whole bunch of accrued interest unnecessarily. So we can phase this project phases very well. One other thing I want to mention about the water and sewer side real briefly is not only do we have to work with, the county doesn't provide water or sewer service for us. We still have to get all the approvals. You still look at everything. The woman that spoke earlier about the geotechnical stuff, we do look at that stuff. We do read that stuff. We're not here to design communities that don't work or that we're in questionable geological forms. Builders all over-X. They over-X just about every lot. So I'm jumping around a little bit here. But the bottom line is, yeah, we're willing to continue as long as we have to, extending dates. The bonds are usually 30 or 40-year bonds. They do eventually pay off. If for some reason the economy gets really bad and they don't pay off before the termination date or the due date on the bonds, they simply go away. So the homeowners are never going to get stuck with a whole bunch of debt that never goes away. It can't happen. Did I answer your question, Dan? Or?
Yes, sir. And Spring Valley was what came to mind. That was 30 years ago it started.
I started in 2000. I got my first approval in 2004. First houses were built in 2006. And like I said, it was perfect timing relative to subprime. So, we struggled for a while. But we made it work and we got through it. And Spring Valley is very successful today.
Thank you.
Anything else, Dan?
No, I don't think so. Thanks.
Ken?
I just have one question.
Sure.
The districts have $128.8 million of debt that they can undertake. And I see the engineering survey is estimating it to be $134 billion, a little more than that. what's the anticipated structure for the difference going forward?
First of all, we probably will never issue $128 million in debt. There's three sources of infrastructure funding. One is Metro District debt, two is the developer, and three is the home builder. The way that I structure all my deals is the district pays for what the district can pay for, and then the builder is on the hook basically to develop the lots, off-site and on-site improvements, and they fund the difference. We're authorized up to 128, and there's reasons for that. We will refund bonds eventually, because when we issue bonds in the beginning, we don't have any assessed valuation, so we don't qualify for the best. We don't qualify for the best interest rates, and Ken, you can probably relate to this to some degree. We're not going to get a triple B plus rating or a triple A minus rating on our bonds day one, because we don't have any assessed valuation. So usually when we issue our bonds, there's a 5-year call protection on the initial offering, which protects the bondholder, so they know they're going to get a certain return over a 5-year period. Once that 5-year period's up, that call protection burns off, and now we've got the ability to refund our bonds. And that's the other reason why I like not to have more than a couple 250 homes in a district, is usually we've got a fair chance of getting 200 to 250 homes built over a 5-year period. So when we do go to refund our bonds, we actually qualify for Standard & Poor's ratings, and that lowers our interest rate significantly. So initially, you might see an interest rate in the 5.5 to 6.5 range. I've refunded bonds once the ratings are in place as low as 2.5%. More typically in this interest rate environment, we'd be probably in the 4s to 4.25, 4.5. Those are still very good interest rates, and they're much better than what the interest rate is when I initially issue the bonds with no assessed valuation and no rating.
Okay, thank you. That's it for me.
Hey there.
Hi.
So piggybacking on Ken's question, so when we're looking at the total cost, you've got the up to 134,000 is what you think million is what it's going to cost to develop. What is the amount in 40 years that the taxpayers of this community are going to owe back? How much were they going to be paying in terms of principal and interest?
Yeah, I don't have those numbers committed to my mind right now, but we'll issue the bonds. The interest rate interest rate accrues. I don't know exactly how much it would be over a 30 or 40-year bond term.
So if you have the service plan...
Hang on, you need to stand up and get to the mic.
Yeah.
Apologies, thank you.
And I do, but for everybody, if you don't mind just maybe saying it out loud.
Yes, of course.
So listeners.
So if you're in Exhibit E of the service plan that makes up the initial numerical report, page 5 of that is going to most likely be the most helpful. So it shows for the Series 2027, you're looking at $33.5 million. And then for the Series 2037, you're looking at $215.5 million.
Was the initial offering?
Yes. So the initial offering at the $76 million par amount, and then the refunding par amount of $117 million. But again, this is just an initial estimate of the numerical plan, subject to change based on the phasing of the district.
And which district is that from? Is that the overall?
Yeah, this is the aggregate one for overall. You're correct.
Again, we can only issue as much debt as the assessed valuation projections will authorize. Those are the numbers that are in the service plan. Our mill levies are capped, number one, and we only have a certain amount of debt that we'll be able to issue based on the assessed valuation and what the interest rates are. So those numbers are not likely going to be the numbers that we will actually realize. On a district with I'm just going to go off of recent experience over the last few years where I've had districts between 200 and 250 units. The bond offering has typically been around 14 to 15 million per 250 lots. There's offering costs, issuing costs, and Nicole, there's bond attorneys, disclosure attorneys. We got more attorneys than you can shake a stick at. But the bottom line is everybody gets their fees paid on the front end. And then our project fund, which is what we have to spend, typically on a 200 to 250 lot deal, is going to be in the $10 to $12 million range per district. We've got 4 bonding districts. So we're going to only issue probably something in the neighborhood of $50 million on the whole project. And again, interest is hard for me to calculate because there's so many variables: interest rate, how quickly the community bills out, how fast we're able to pay principal down, all those kind of things.
Sure. Well, and I know in one of the financials, it had an example of here's the average house, here's their average taxes to the metro districts, and then here's their average taxes to the county, which I think is helpful. But I think something like that, some kind of an example like that would be helpful just to know, okay, so, if we're assuming this much debt over 40 years at this interest rate, this is what we could be looking at in terms of the final cost to the community.
Yeah.
That's all, is just for knowledge's sake.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying. We actually do run those kind of numbers. If the average home is $500,000, we can calculate exactly what the tax is going to be on that house for that homeowner based on an interest rate assumption and the...
Right, and you did it in a document, which I appreciated. It's helpful. It's a good graphic.
And we're guessing at a few things too, because
I understand.
I think you can understand this too, is the state changes the percentage that we're allowed, that we use to calculate our assessed valuations. It changes all the time. Usually goes up, but sometimes I've only seen it go down, I think, once, and it wasn't very much. So we got something to say.
Well, and I do want to note that the Title 38 home builder disclosure requirements for purchasers includes like a breakdown of the estimated cost property taxes, exactly like you were referring to. So each potential purchaser would be provided with a disclosure that would break down based on the then current information of what debt had been issued, what mill levies had been assessed for operation and maintenance.
Yeah. And like I said, I saw what you guys provided, which is per house. I just think when we're looking at the big expansive picture of what is this community going to be paying out, right? Future taxpayers and Elbert County residents, they can't speak for themselves yet, but we can look out for their best interests. And so just to see, okay, this is what, full knowledge, this is what they're going to look like. They're going to, once this interest capitalizes or whatever, like this is probably how much they're going to pay out over 40 years as a community. It would be helpful.
And again, there's a lot of variables, and it does change, subject to change without notice because of the economy. But we do have to disclose everything to the homeowners. I attend pretty much every Metro District meeting that we have on, I don't know how many districts I'm involved in these days, but it's a lot. And the last thing we want to do is try to have to explain to ourselves why we're doing things. People, when they buy a home in a community where there is a Metro District, it's disclosed to them up front. Whether they read all the documents or not is questionable. We know that they probably don't, but at least it's disclosed. They know they're in a district. They're constantly getting information from the district, and they're able to attend meetings and ask questions anytime they want. So we're doing the best we can. And the other thing is, I believe that most people, when they purchase a home, unless they're just not paying attention, understands they're buying a home in a Metro District, and they're making a conscious decision to buy that home knowing that they're in a district.
Usually more than one as well. Usually the one that their house is in, plus any overlay districts.
There is, and as we pointed out earlier, you got Parks and Rec, you got Rattlesnake. What else is out here? Those are the two that come to mind right away.
Well, that does bring me to my last question, which is, and it's a question we've had before, but I would love to bring it up again. I'm curious, where in the service plan does it explain how the governance transitions from developer control to resident control?
I'll let Carly answer that one.
Yeah, luckily that's all statutorily set forth, so it's followed by all districts. So board of directors can be 5 members or 7 members. 5 is more typical. And so when a district is organized, they are staggered terms. So you have 2 directors that are up for election at the next regular election, and then the other 3 at the subsequent. So every odd number year, there is an election. And so eligible electors, as they move into the district, whether they're residents or own property, so long as they're registered to vote, become eligible electors of the district. And eligible electors of the district are qualified to serve as directors. And so under statute as well, there are annual town hall meetings. As part of that town hall meetings, self-nomination forms for these elections are provided to the community as well. So there are many opportunities in terms of election that come up more regularly, but often we see that there's vacancies. Those can also be filled by eligible electors. So as residents move in, the population of eligible electors increases, allowing them to become more involved in the governance of the districts.
And at what point would you expect residents to become represented on the board for these metro districts?
So they become qualified as soon as they reside or own property within the district.
Theoretically.
Depending on how often the elections are held?
Well, it's like Carly just said, they're staggered. So there's 2 seats, and then 2 years later, there's 3 seats. So theoretically, in over a 5-year period, we could have 5 homeowners on the district. And I have never, ever had that happen yet. Doesn't mean it won't. I've got districts that I can't get off of because I can't find homeowners to get on them. And I've got one district where I'm the only board member. Go figure. So it is what it is. But
is it just for lack of desire of
I think
community members?
Nicole, I think it's lack of interest. I think people, if things are going well,
nobody's got a problem.
People don't care. They don't care. And Elbert County, I have 2 homeowners on District 2, 1 on District 5, and I think 1 on District 3. And I've gone out of my way to try to find more people to get on the boards, and there's nobody interested. So, but we have people that still show up at meetings, just to hear what's going on. They ask questions and they see how tedious the meetings are, and maybe that drives them away. I don't know.
And I wonder, if not at this project, but maybe in future projects, if you would be opposed to including language that just describes what that transition process looks like. So if there are members of the community who want to be a part of it, it's very clearly laid out in the service plan of this is how you can be a part of the governance of the community in which you live.
We're required by law to advertise every vacancy every time we have a vacancy, whether there's an election or not. If somebody resigns, we advertise the vacancy. And if somebody steps up and they're a registered, they're a taxpayer that lives inside the district, they're qualified, and we generally accept them. We've never not accepted anybody. So, Carly, maybe you can address what Nicole's specifically asking, because we kind of went around on this once before.
Yeah. I'll just note for sure that there are multiple steps within the statute that the district has to comply with, regardless of what's included in the service plan that provides those opportunities. But understanding that Elbert County, either in future service plans or language, may want to include information of it. Understood.
Yeah. And I appreciate, your candor, Jim, when it comes to, your experience. I know you're a developer who has metro districts operating currently in some of your already built out communities. So I do hear you saying that there's a lack of interest to be involved and engaged. But I do like the idea moving forward of just being willing to include it in the service plan as part of the governance structure so that, it's crystal clear. I appreciate that you're a builder that wants to be as inclusive as possible with the community, but I sure would love to make sure that, all of our developers are that way.
Yeah, no, I appreciate where you're coming from, and it's an additional form of disclosure, obviously. And we've just never done it before. I guess that's the thing, but it doesn't mean we can't.
And Nicole, if you want to keep chasing this, we could put it in as language for a proposal.
Yeah.
And so be thinking of the language if you want to go down that path.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for your candor.
It's not I don't think it's a game changer one way or the other. So, but I do agree, and especially in this day and age, it doesn't hurt to be fully disclosing everything you can.
I think transparency is always a positive when you're,
it is.
especially with metro districts.
I agree. They're very misunderstood. People don't really understand what it is they do or why we use them. And Elbert County is unique. You guys are totally unique out here. It's the only jurisdiction I've developed in the metro area ever where the local municipality doesn't supply the water and sewer. And Monty's even telling us now they're not going to take our asphalt anymore. So Spring Valley is hodgepodge lodge right now. We've got filings where the county's accepted roads. We've got filings where the county's accepted the asphalt but not the concrete, and we got filings where they're not accepting anything. So it's driving Public Works crazy. I've got it all laid out. I've got a big map. I've got all the exhibits, and I have to update everybody every time somebody new comes to Public Works. But anyway.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. No further questions for me.
Yeah, no problem.
Robert.
No questions at this time. Thank you.
Kyle?
Same. I don't have any questions.
And Dee Dee.
I don't have any questions. Nicole asked the question. I just wanted to know.
Yeah, I'll just ask my usual question. I noticed you doing a build out of an extension of the wastewater treatment to the tune of about 300,000 gallons, give or take a few. The worry that I always have is water. I didn't see a build out number for additional water, additional tanks, additional anything. Do you assume that you can cover based on?
We'll be drilling at least another 7 to 10 wells. We do have 2.6 million gallons of storage right now with those two big storage tanks that are out there. There will be another storage tank in the ridge at some point. We haven't exactly nailed down the location yet. But yeah, we work closely with CDPHE, with Colorado Department of Health and Environment, and all our water stuff. We're working right now on the plan to expand the wastewater plant from 300,000 gallons a day to 600,000, between 500,000 and 600,000 gallons a day. But yeah, there'll be quite a bit of water and sewer infrastructure built. We've got more than enough water rights. We've got the county requires the 300-year water supply. We've got, I think, double what we need to satisfy that. We get our best production out of the Arapahoe and the Laramie Fox Hills. Denver's okay, but we're actually debating whether we're going to drill many more Denver wells. So.
Great, thank you.
Anyway, we got a lot of experience out here. I've got a good geologist that I work with. Our wastewater engineers are great. Our water engineers are great. They're experienced people, and they're experienced in Elbert County.
Thank you. Carly, I noticed on point 5 you said that it was a comparable as opposed to a compatible requirement. Words have meaning, right? So it's not comparable, it's got to be compatible. And did you believe that statement is accurate?
I meant it to say that the debt service mill levy is similar to adjacent and corresponding metropolitan districts within the area.
The language you used was compatible on your point. So compatible and comparable are two different things. I'm just making that point. So you might want to think
I
about
might have
it.
misspoke. I believe the slide said comparable.
Nope,
Okay.
it did not. Jen, where are they at in the process for this? So I heard from a land use perspective, they're doing prelim plats. Where are we actually at total?
It's
Rezone's done.
It's in the review process.
Okay. And preliminary plats are when?
Meaning,
When
I'm
will
not
that
sure what
be?
the,
Well, we're still working on getting through all the comments that we got on the preliminary plat submittal. It's a process, as you know. We go back and forth. We have to respond to everybody that, we get them from U.S. Fish and Wildlife, FEMA, the Corps of Engineers, the county, I mentioned U.S. Fish, the State Historical Society. I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
but we don't have hearings scheduled yet.
Yeah, we're not at the hearing point yet. We're getting there, but we're not there yet.
Thank you. That was my question. So with that, any other last minute questions, comments, concerns? Yeah, let's go ahead and make a motion.
Can I offer one? I'd like to move that the Planning Commission recommend approval for SD-2026-0002 to the Board of County Commissioners, and further recommend that the Board of County Commissioners consider requesting the applicant to amend the service plan to include language that would describe that anticipated transition from the developer to residential governance as early as is permitted under Colorado law.
I'll second it.
With that, we'll go to a roll call vote.
Roll call vote. Kevin Kirkwood,
Aye.
Robert Politek,
Aye.
Dee Dee Schott-Grace,
Aye.
John Gresham,
Aye.
Nicole Hunt,
Aye.
Kyle Gennardo.
Aye.
Oops, I've got the wrong list here. Ken Madsen,
Aye.
Dan Guthrie,
Aye.
I 8, nay 0.
Fantastic. Thank you all. Appreciate it. We'll close the public hearing on the Ridge at Spring Valley and open the public hearing on TPLO to go SUR 2025-0002. Will it work? Will it work? Give it a shot.
I'll just talk really loud.
With that, we are back in session. I open the public comment, so we're not open the public comment, but open the public hearing. With that, can we get a staff report on TPLO to go?
Yes. Good evening, Commissioners. For the record, Kelsey Lanham with the Elbert County CDS Department. Tonight, I will be presenting TPLO to go, case number SUR 2025-0002. A little bit about the project. So the subject property is 37631 County Road 21. It's 40 acres and zoned agriculture. The applicants are requesting a special use by review permit for the establishment of a small surgery center that specializes in canines and felines. Additional information, so the applicants currently operate the business in Inglewood while they do reside in Franktown. The business does have other members on staff, but is strictly ran by the two applicants. The proposed surgery center will specialize in, I might butcher this, but it is tibial plateau leveling osteotomy. I probably botched that. Essentially, it's equivalent to ACL surgery in humans, but for canines and felines. They are requesting to be open up to 5 days a week with an 8 to 5 business schedule. Due to scheduling and staff, they are able to see up to 7 patients a day. The surgery center will not offer overnight care or services, wellness exams, boarding, groomings, or vaccinations. It's strictly just this specialized surgery. Looking at the project timeline, so they had their pre-application in May of last year. Their community meeting was in June of last year. This went through 2 review cycles, January to February of this year, and then again in May to June. They have met all notice requirements. And these are the referral agencies that reviewed and responded to the application. The project did go through those 2 referral periods due to the Elizabeth Fire District. They had a couple changes that were required to be made on the exhibit and the plans before they could issue their approval. The final exhibit reflects those changes, and since then there are no outstanding comments or objections from the fire district or any other of the referral agencies. And here is a very broad overview of the subject property. It is located approximately 9 miles to the northwest of Kiowa. Exactly 12 minutes from here to be exact. Looking a little closer at the surrounding properties and their zoning, directly west is the Sable Ridge PUD. These lots are just over 2.5 acres. To the north, you have a smaller subdivision with 10-acre lots. And then to the east is the Pine subdivisions. And these lots are 5 acres. And then, as mentioned before, the subject property is 40 acres and zoned agriculture. And here is just a look of the aerial view. And I know that the property is exactly 12 minutes from here because this morning I drove out to the property around 10. And this portion of the property is where that proposed entrance and location of the surgery center is. There is an existing residence and barn on the property. However, so these pictures are taken in 0.5, but the residence and the barn is to the left of the property. Looking at where the center is proposed, you cannot see those 2 existing buildings within a camera view. Looking at public comment, so at their community meeting, they had 5 attendees outside of the applicant team and then staff. Major concerns were future development, boarding, noise, and breeding. The applicants have expressed that there is no plan for future development, no intention of boarding animals or breeding endeavors. We did receive 2 public comments on this project. One of those comments was included in the packet. The other comment was provided to the commission as it was submitted after the public hearing packet was posted. Looking at the approval criteria for a special use by review, so it is found in the zoning regulations, Article 3E5. These are summarized. So letter A, the use is in harmony and compatible with the surrounding area. During the referral process, no concerns were presented regarding the neighboring properties or existing infrastructure to be affected. Like I just mentioned, we did receive 2 public comments on it. Letter B, no undue burden on infrastructure. The Division of Water Resources reviewed the application, and the applicants have gone through water court for approval of an augmentation plan and an additional well on the property. The applicants are not proposing to use the existing well that is on the property for this surgery center. They are proposing that a water holding tank be utilized and will be filled by a legal water hauling company. If the applicants in the future decide that they want to drill that new well, DWR will require proof that the existing well is capped and abandoned before they are able to get approval of that new well. Other than that, there were no objections from DWR for using either option, whether that be drilling a new well or using a water hauling company. Letter C, it will not unduly increase traffic or burden existing road system. So Elbert County Public Works reviewed the application and determined a traffic letter was not required due to minimal traffic concerns. No improvements to the existing road systems are required at this time. The applicants will be required to install a commercial driveway from County Road 21 to the surgery center. This driveway will be inspected and approved by Public Works. D, the proposal will not cause air, odor, water, noise, or light pollution. All services will be performed within this surgery center, aside from letting the patients use the restroom outside. Patient waste will be disposed of daily and in a sanitary manner. There were no concerns noted by Elbert County Public Health about waste disposal or the project in general. Letter E, sanitation requirements are met. Like I mentioned, the proposed surgery center will not use the existing septic either. Contingent on approval, the applicants will apply for an additional on-site wastewater treatment system through Public Health, and Public Health had no objections or concerns about this second tank being installed. F, the proposal will be adequately landscape buffered or screened. So the surgery center is proposed to be set back 370 feet from County Road 21. While there's no landscaping or screening proposed, the building is located at a distance greater than what the required setbacks are. G, not detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare. The surgery center will allow Elbert County residents access to orthopedic services for their feline and canine companions without having to travel to a neighboring jurisdiction. The application was reviewed by various departments and agencies, and there are no outstanding objections or concerns. And finally, letter H, supplemental standards are met. There are no applicable standards for this. Considerations for decision. So a veterinary clinic or hospital is allowed within the agriculture zone district with an SUR. There are no outstanding comments or objections from any referral agency. Surgeries are limited to canines and felines only, and minimal water usage, traffic, and other impacts are expected with this proposal. And for the potential conditions, 3 standard ones, so the applicant will be required to remove the public hearing sign within 7 days. 2, the SUR is not effective until all fees are paid, conditions are met, and the exhibit is recorded. And then finally, the recordation of all appropriate documentation must occur within 180 days of the BOCC approval. The applicants are present tonight and are able to answer any questions if you have any, and so is staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Would the applicant like to speak?
Thank you for presenting that, and thank you for hearing us, and happy to entertain any questions or explanation, or hopefully no bathroom breaks.
No worries. Thank you. With that, I would like to open up the floor for public comment. Again, if you would like to speak, please come up, tell us your name, address, and you'll have 5 minutes.
I am Robert Green. My address is 37235 Timber Drive. I reside in the Pines. I want to thank the Planning Commission for your opportunity to speak and to talk to you about this proposal. I am, not to bury the lead, I am opposed to it. I don't believe that it's appropriate to have a retail commercial operation placed within the middle of residential communities. I think that while I applaud the idea of bringing this sort of facility to our community, to serve our community, I believe that this sort of commercial retail business should be placed appropriately in a commercial setting. We have lots of facilities within this area that are vacant. I can think of the building right next to Doug's that is a good facility that could be utilized for this business. It also brings those residents that want to utilize this facility to the community and to the commercial area where the infrastructure is already set and ready. My concerns about this are, I noted in the presentation that they are trying to limit 7 operations a day. There's no overnight, that type of thing. Yet it still requires staff to run these kinds of facilities. Not only the surgeon, but the nursing staff, veterinary nursing staff, and post-care staff, as well as front desk staff. Those people are also going to be coming and going from this facility because of the nature of it, the way it's designed. My concern also is that with commercial buildings and facilities and districts, the infrastructure provides for adequate entrance and egress with acceleration lanes and deceleration lanes and turning facilities. Right now, CR21 is a 50-mile-an-hour road with none of those types of things set out because it is predominantly residential. I really do see no commercial or retail services on that road. So that being said, I also note that because of the increased traffic from Spring Valley, where I see 18-wheelers and dump trucks and cement trucks utilizing 21, it creates, I think, a concern for traffic, particularly for people wanting to use this facility that are not familiar with CR21 and the ability to enter into a facility like this and exit a facility like this. Because what we're talking about is trying to bring in retail opportunity from throughout this area. I mean, this type of facility, you have to go to Parker now, you have to go to Castle Rock. So I do applaud the fact that they want to bring this to the community, but I think it's ill-considered to put it in the middle of a neighborhood. It's too far apart from any other thing. And I don't want to set a precedent that in essence says, let's build out 21 and make it a retail strip of all sorts of retail businesses. So with that said, this is why I oppose this particular application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you on here? I'm right there. Oh, okay, good, thank you.
Thanks. I'm Chalice Coward. I live with my family on County Road 21 in a very historic building area. It was the first timber placements and cattle and land. My property, the homeowners own the entire road of County 121. We're in Book 2. It's 37222 County Road. We are just south of timber by one house or so. The land that we have is considered sacred land and has natural springs and wildlife corridors that are unprecedented in that area. We have come to this community. We took a pledge, as everybody else did, to preserve the land and to develop responsibly in that land, which I think we all took a vow and prayer to say that when we got here first. This is not responsible development. My neighbors that could not be here tonight, I hope they represent them well. This is an understandably a need for the community, but we bought out in the community, we preserve in the community, and we take care of our animals and livestock in that community as an agricultural business, not a retail business. We have houses going north of 154 to the tune of 400 or 500 homes. County Road 21 is killing animals pretty regularly out in my front yard. I have trash that I pick up on a weekly basis, big, huge dumps that happen out on County Road 21. We don't have the infrastructure out there to be able to accommodate the egress and ingress that we're talking about here in commercial land. And we do have a lot of that in Elizabeth, though. We do have very, very capable places to put retail business in a veterinary responsible surgery center. We do have that, and I applaud you for being capable of doing that. I would like to see that considered in here and a rejection of this proposal, not just for that, but the wildlife studies haven't been to my knowledge. I did not attend the other two. I wasn't aware of those capabilities, but we haven't had that assessed, nor the natural area for the water flow and what's happening, or the turkeys and all the other things that nest in the areas that everybody's taking care of. That part is different. The waste treatment of what we're doing here, we can all stand here and say it's going to be taken care of and it's going to be healthy and it's going to be done. I have not seen that in my home that was built in 1877 and that I take care of and that I continue to manage the properties across the way. We have the largest set of property. We have 19 acres, plus we're connected to 5 acres of open space. People are not managing the land. We're seeing people living and existing out there. We've had to ask to remove those kinds of things. The world has changed for us. The world is the commercial business already on County Road 21 and should have never been permitted. County Road 21 is the only thoroughfare of County Road 13 closes down like we saw in the floods last year. I couldn't get out my driveway. I had to have actually a Douglas County Sheriff come and help me get out my driveway one day and hold traffic. We had 18-wheelers, as the gentleman before me, my neighbor has mentioned, coming up and down going several miles over the speed limit. That's a 50-mile-an-hour road. People drive way more than 50 mile an hour. So I've become friends with the Elbert County Sheriff because he's a great guy, right? But somebody has to start considering the stopping of building commercial properties on agricultural land. My neighbor has over 200 acres across the way of cattle. We hear them all night. We're going to hear other activities that are going on in the surgery center. There's going to be lights. There's going to be signage. The proposal did not address anything about the signage or the lighting capability. That needs to be considered as well. I'm not opposed to the situation of adding to our community. I think that's a very healthy thing. I'm very much opposed to what's happening to County Road 21, regardless of this proposal, but everything else. And those of us that are still working for a living and making a difference in this world and leaving it better than we have are actually developing responsibly. This is not a part of that. I would beg you to consider that's why we voted everybody in, is to take care of our land and what we're going to see in the future. Right now, that's not happening on County Road 21, just not in this isolated incident either. But I would hope that you could consider the wildlife corridor, consider the noise, consider the lighting, consider the structures, and consider the precedence that is happening in our world that goes silently not addressed.
Pardon me, that's 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, I am a part of this community, and I would really, really consider that my neighbors and I would hope that you do responsible development here and just reject.
Thank you. Would someone else like to come up? Okay, with that, would the applicant like to address the concerns raised by the community? We're closing public testimony, by the way.
Sure. You want to help me, or I could do my best. So, in terms of the impact, those are all valid concerns, and I appreciate you for having those concerns because they're my concerns too. There's a reason why we own that property, and it has a lot to do with trees and preservation of its natural habitat. You'll probably recall from the presentation that the setback was more than double of what was required. The reason for that is because there's some trees where it was going to be, so we found an open area at the expense of a little longer driveway to avoid impacting trees. I love animals. I'm an avid outdoorsman, and certainly want to impact the turkeys or the deer that traipse through there. In terms of after hours and nighttime noise and lighting, not going to happen. This is a situation where the animals come in. The bulk of their time there, they're actually either sedated or anesthetized. They wake up, they go home, and it's probably beyond the scope of this, but the numbers, the 7 cases a day and the staff requirement and that's just not accurate. We've maintained this business for almost a decade with just us two. So we can ride in the same vehicle sometimes, and if we're living there, it's going to be even less of an impact on the current state of County Road 21. And I know I'm missing something, but I'm not real good at thinking on my toes all the time.
Hello, I want to thank everybody for their time. So my husband is correct. We looked for a number of years to find a property that had the trees. Where we live in Franktown, we don't have many, and so that's something that we've aspirated to have and looked for quite a long time. We've had the property now for almost 2 years. And I believe the setting in Elizabeth, I'm sorry, y'all, the background kind of distracts me. But I believe that the setting on the property will be wonderful for the animals because it'll be much more low-key. In the town of Elizabeth, it's just become not what I remember. It's just Grand Central Station on 86. There's lots of noise. The animals nowadays, a lot of them are very anxious, stressed, and I feel that out in the trees where it's much more peaceful and quiet, I think that would be a wonderful setting while they're having surgery. The pet parents will really like that type of atmosphere. So that was one of the main reasons why we wanted to put it on the property, is because we feel it would be very fear-free for these patients. We also saw, too, throughout this process and wanted to ensure that it was, in fact, an acceptable business to have, which is what we've seen that it is. We do care about preserving the land, and that's where my husband had mentioned is, yes, we could bring it right up close to 21. I believe it was about 100 feet or right in there. Off of 21, and we decided not to do that because that would require us taking out a handful of trees, and we do not want to do that. We want to preserve those trees, so we decided to push it further back so we could build in an area that made sense. It should not require us to cut down one tree. I'm trying to think of some of the other. So I I believe lighting was a concern. Our plan is to only operate during daylight hours. So since we're not offering any overnight boarding, doggy daycare, grooming, etc.
Retail. It's not a retail facility. It's not a retail facility also, which may have, I kind of got the impression that that was what we're opening. This is a medical facility that does specialty surgeries. I'm in my 25th year as a veterinary surgeon, and I'm just trying to make this as successful of a venture and a peaceful place and on the property that we own.
To go back regarding the lighting, like I had mentioned, the business is going to be open during daylight hours, so we want to not have any overnight boarding, doggy daycare, etc. So we will be very respectful with light. We do plan to have signage just so clients know where to turn, and of course that can be however is decided on by the county if there are certain requirements there. We do plan to have the driveway gated when we are not open. And we do not plan to be open on the weekends. We do wish to have a little outside fenced-in yard to take the dogs out to go to the bathroom before and after surgery. They will be leashed and they will be with a staff member. So we're not concerned whatsoever with any dog barking, noise, etc. I know that's a very important thing to a lot of people, and I'm very sensitive to dog barking too. And so the dogs will always be under supervision, and there will be no outdoor runs, yards, etc. that they will be let loose in. So they will always be on a leash and in and out, except for, coming into the clinic for surgery and after dismissal, getting in the car. So I'm not concerned about noise, and I am pretty anal about that. I know that neighbors around, everybody worries about dog barking, and I do too. So that's one thing that I am confident in, that, we won't produce any noise. And I'm so sorry, I'm trying to think of the other things that we haven't addressed.
I can't think of anything.
I think y'all did a good job of covering that, so thank y'all.
Yeah, thank you.
With that, I'll turn it over to a board-only discussion. So, Dee Dee, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, I have a couple questions for you if you don't want to sit down for a second here. Okay, sure. So, in some of the research that I did about this, you really just raise your hand and holler at me over there. You may have more than one surgery in a day.
Correct.
But it's not like you're going to be just stacking them up there.
No.
For one thing, it's a very, very thank you, specialized service that you're doing. I mean, it's hopefully it's kind of rare that dogs and cats don't have this all the time, but yeah. I know that there is a need for it, and I know that you've been fulfilling that need very well, and you are very well known as being the specialist in this, at least from the vets that I contacted. Yeah. So it's not just a fly-by-night thing.
No.
And I understand that. What I did want to have clarified was, you said you live in
We live in
Franktown,
Franktown,
right?
correct.
Sorry, man, no voices today.
That's not the long-term plan, by the way.
The long-term plan is not.
Absolutely, to be out here.
You bought that property so that eventually you're going to live on that property, is that correct?
Hopefully.
Okay. So, well, I hope so too. And that makes a whole different kind of
we didn't buy
to it, because you're not just getting that property and trying to put a quasi business out there by itself. You're trying to have
Correct.
a home and a place.
You hit
right?
the nail on the head, yeah.
Right.
Even with quasi.
That's, okay. Sometimes my words, I can get
No,
the big
that's
ones, not
okay.
the little ones. I was going to be concerned about the lighting and signage also, but it would be my recommendation that if you're going to have any signage, that it would be kind of blend with the community, like a wooden sign with, something that's not out there crazy.
Exactly. Our purpose for signage would only be so that a lot of our patients actually come from not just down the road, they come from far away.
Oh, yeah, they do. Right?
And it's a destination type thing. Yeah.
You're a specialist.
And, yes, ma'am.
Is in.
Yeah.
I think you've had patients from Wyoming as well.
Yeah, I've operated on horses and dogs from all around the world.
Yeah. So then I wanted to know about if you're going to long-term plan was to be able to live there.
Yeah. See, to me, that's almost, I don't think about that because it's common. It's just implied to me. Yeah, exactly.
Thing is we're in the community's mind as to you. Most of the people in Elbert County have some sort of, business or something that they do with their homes, whether it's farming or whatever else.
Right.
And you are very good at what you do from my
I could go. I could give Cliff Notes, of if it's of any interest or would help the decision-making process. I'm happy to, talk about my progression and how I got here from. Why are you wanting to do this on this property out here? And
we get the business case. You don't need to go down.
Okay.
You don't have to do all that. I'm just trying to make sure that it is put out there that you do want to take care of the property. You do want to invest in it. And I think it's a big thing that you want to be out here in Elbert County because it gives us a lot of recognition, if you want to know the truth. That's how I feel about it. So that we would have that kind of specialty right here, it'd be awesome. So I applaud you for what you're trying to do and build a family there. And
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, hey, I just have about 2 questions for it, maybe a couple more. So I know we talked about your location. You didn't want to tear down any trees or anything like that, and I pretty much have it mapped out on where you're going to be. But besides the want to not destroy any trees, was there any other justification for the site location that you picked? I mean, you have 40 acres, but you're pretty close to your northern property line.
Correct. Tree density. If you look on that map, you'll see that there's a paucity of trees in that.
So I definitely see that, but then you are doing a commercial drive, right? So how many trees are going to come out when you construct your commercial drive?
Hopefully 0.
You think so? When on the street view of that, you think you can get 370 feet back without cutting down a tree?
Not with a straight line. I wouldn't bet on that.
So that's why I'm asking.
That's just more. It's just
No, because on your exhibit, I mean, you are a 370-foot straight line, right?
Yeah. So kind of back where you see there's an old remnants of a corral or round paddock-looking area there. So just to the east of that, and is kind of where there's another clearing. It's sometimes hard because of the shadows. Those trees are so tall that they cast a long shadow depending on the aerial view. But there's a clearing right there, and that's it. That's why we picked it, is because of the lack of density of ponderosa pines.
All right, what about the clearing that's a little bit closer to the property, just southeast of where you guys want to build at? Did you guys look at that location?
Southeast.
It's kind of where they're just, I mean, it's an aerial view. It could be depicting incorrectly, right?
So southeast of the current home?
No, southeast of where you guys want to build. there looks to be another clearing that's actually closer to the road, but a little bit further away from your property owner. I'm not saying you had to move there. I'm just asking, was that ever an option?
Well, the main reason why we were kind of looking up in that northeast area was just because it's also fairly flat.
Okay.
So as you get closer towards the home and the existing barn, there actually starts to be a little bit more changes in the landscape. So the northeast was less trees and more flat, which we thought would be a little bit more
I know what you're talking about.
straightforward.
There's a drainage there in that.
Okay. And that's why I can,
It's
let's
got
look at
belly
the
high
graphic.
grass
Nope,
right now.
Perfect. No, that's what I wanted to ask regarding that one. And then secondly, you answered the drive question. So you're okay doing a commercial drive that's maybe longer than 370 feet, but avoids removal of trees? That's already a pretty long driveway.
We already know it's going to be expensive,
Okay.
but that's really how much the trees mean to us. The trees is, we'll push it back to save the trees. I am a bit of I do like my trees. So
Make a T-shirt out of that saying.
Yeah.
And then my last question for you. So I know it's a specialized type of surgery, but the off chance an animal passes away, what is your plan for the removal or disposal of that animal?
Well, that's never happened. But crematorium.
Not on property though, right?
No. They'd be. Yeah, that's pretty standard with a veterinary practice. Is if there is an animal that's euthanized, dies, they're typically either returned to the owner, or if the owner wishes, they're picked up by a service, a crematory service.
Nope.
Actually,
I just wanted to clarify that, and I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, good question.
Good evening. First question, what is going to be the approximate size of the surgical center?
it's about 1,800 to 2,000 square feet.
Okay. And you think, based upon your current experience and so on, you're pretty much capped based upon, a surgery lasting about an hour and 10 minutes, from putting the animal to sleep and doing the surgery, and then post-op is at about where you came in with a maximum of 7 per day.
Well, I have never done 7 surgeries in a day.
Yeah. Well,
and I don't intend to.
Here's the reason why I asked.
No. No, you're right. It says it in the document, and that's probably where it was derived from. But you're pretty close with your numbers, barring variation.
Because I have a dog that had both sides done.
So. Right.
And you did them. So
you did. I hope he's walking over. I hope he's made 100%. I hope he made 110% recovery, and I mean that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I asked, because I know that would be a real stretch to have you try to do 7 surgeries a day.
No, it's
I was thinking it would be reality of 5.
I think that's close.
Yeah, and so you're going to have potentially 5 customers come in twice a day. That's going to be no more than someone making a right hand or a left hand turn off of County Road 21 to any of the streets along the way. All right. No, I don't have any further questions. I was just more concerned about the size of the facility and the actual number.
Yeah.
Good questions. They asked a lot that I was going to ask. I think the only one that maybe we didn't address super directly, but has come to us through comments, was just concern about the crest of the hill and potentially not being able to see people turning in. Do you have any feedback on just safety of that area and how far you can see out if people are stopping to turn?
Well, I guess in a word, no, because the terrain is there. I can attest to the fact that it's easier to turn out of there than it is to turn out of space we're renting on downtown Elizabeth off onto the highway. But in terms of provisions, all I can do is tell people to be careful when they pull out. And do the same myself, and hope that.
I was just going to say, have you had any close calls in that area?
Yeah,
driving in and off your property?
But not, turning out of any of those roads around there on the east or west side can be a little dicey depending on who's on the, who's on the road already and how fast they're going and whether or not they have their lights on, et cetera. I mean, yeah. And I wish that I wish there was a way that I could, affect that, or any of us could. But I think that, we can't stop the pine beetle either. I mean, some things are there's more and more people, there's more and more traffic. There's comments about the trucks and the big machinery going down the highway. Sorry, I don't know how to fix that. I really don't, or even know how even I don't know how that's done. So I hope I didn't sound like a smart aleck or skirt around your question, but I don't know, other than just being careful and look both ways before you pull out. I don't know.
And just in general, because we did have neighbors show up, you guys have, done your due diligence. It sounds like you guys actually might be neighbors one day, but doing your due diligence to be as responsive to your community of neighbors and their concerns in the process.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think generally speaking, this type of small business ownership in our community is the type of development that we like to see. You've never operated on any of my dogs, but I have had dogs that have required this type of TPLO surgery, and
it's very common.
It is indeed very specialized. And I think we had to drive up to Arvada or Westminster to go to a doctor for us. But regardless, I think this is the type of business that we want to see, small local businesses that are coming to our community. I don't have any further questions.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ken.
Actually, all my questions were already answered. So
I was hoping somebody would ask if I could neuter or spay the pine beetle. Actually,
so almost that. Thank you so much.
I'd like to echo what Nicole said. I think you bring an important issue to an important benefit to the county. The traffic issue. As I see it, there's about 10 operations a day total on a busy day, including you.
Yeah.
Coming and going. I don't think that's going to impact things significantly. I do have a quick question, though.
Absolutely.
Just for understanding. Well, two of them. One, your comment was your primary focus is the TPLO surgery. Mm-hmm. Do you do any other orthopedic type or other surgeries?
So predominantly knees. So the number one kind of reason for lameness in a dog or gait abnormality or orthopedic problems in the hind leg of a dog is over 90% ACL tears in knees. That number is actually going up because of awareness of hip dysplasia and things that breeders have stopped perpetuating, because they were able to identify cause and address it. I kind of backed into this thing. I didn't graduate veterinary school 25 years ago and say, I just want to do TPLO surgeries, knee surgeries, dog surgeries. I did everything. I did equine surgery for the first 15 years of my career. I was a professor of surgery. That's how I ended up in Colorado. There's a big facility up in Littleton that I was recruited to. And since then, I started doing a freelance surgical service out of my home in Franktown, where I would run up and down the Front Range and just do orthopedic surgeries in small animals at clinics. I would go to the clinic, do a surgery, leave, go to another clinic, leave, go to another clinic. Well, I'm older than I look, and my neck and my back and my knees, they won't let me do as much as I used to could. And it's humbling, but at the same time, my practice is streamlined into essentially just doing knees of dogs. And that's what I was doing. I still do mobile surgeries. Operate out of in Inglewood, as it was discussed. We have a commercial space rented in Elizabeth for the time being to hold us over. Well, hopefully this can come to fruition. And yeah, it sounds like a silly business model, and maybe it is, but it's my business model, and it's sustained my family for the last 7 years, 10 years, and I anticipate that it will continue to do that, and it's also sustaining my livelihood in terms of my own personal abuse. The operating room is a hostile environment in terms of ergonomics and what it requests of you. I mean, it's not it's hard on your hands, your back, your neck, you name it. And so
I think you answered my question.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
Sorry.
One other, if I could ask.
Absolutely.
Can you expand a little on your expectation for water? I understand you're going to have water trucked in and water storage. Can you give us a little better idea what specifically you have in mind there?
Correct. So the water requirements are, at first, even on my own process of thinking about it, it's like, well, you got to have water. Well, what do you got to have water for? Well, you got to have water to clean cages, clean up, messes around there. Occasionally you have a dog that requires a kind of a quick rinse of an area before it's prepped. The days of, Trapper John or Hawkeye scrubbing and soap up to their armpits before surgery, though, that's we wash our hands with a normal soap, and then technology's advanced from that. We don't require as much water for that. So essentially it's just cleaning cages, rinsing some instruments and hands, and the requirement's fairly low, and that's why we elected to utilize a holding tank as a means of supplying water, and I also feel like it's less impactful on the environment also.
What size holding tank did you have?
1,200 gallons.
Okay.
25.
Okay. Thank you. I have no more questions.
John?
I don't have any questions. I think this, on 40 acres, is going to be a lower impact than a lot of things can be, so I think it's a good deal.
So I'm the last person here on the list, and so I was coming down 21 today and came up over the hill, and the first thing I noticed was the sign, and the second thing I noticed was a turkey hen with a bunch of chicks that were running into the ditch. Yep. So I didn't pay as much attention to the sign as I would have liked to, but I do recognize the fact that there's it's a pretty quick turn to see that sign. And so there's some challenges associated with turning in and turning out of that property. So the question goes to Kelsey, not to y'all, but what's the definition of a commercial drive and entryway for the commercial drive?
I don't know the exact definition. That would come through Public Works after they review the application. Since it is a business, it just can't be residential, essentially, so just the commercial standard. So if the commission wants that, I can get that for you and send it over, but it's a specific width and then entrance width as well.
Yeah, that was my question, because it comes down to, as you're coming up over the hill, how much room do you have to actually make the turn in? And I can see taking off on the edge of the soft shoulder there, and going in that way. So just a thought as you're planning it.
To my understanding, the commercial drive needs to be 20 feet wide, all the way up. And I'm trying to think if there's anything. That was the biggest thing you were told was the width.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to speak out of line, but I'm almost wondering if there's a provision for like an apron or a widening and then into the road from this. I think
it's typically what we ask for. So there are other businesses along 13 that, as an example, the power station. Right, they have two entrances, or an entrance and an exit, and those required an apron and a little bit more asphalt and roadway to actually allow for the turn in, turn out. You guys might consider that as you're going through this, because it will become a situation where you may have somebody come up over that hill and pay more attention to the turkeys like I did, and maybe hit somebody on the road. So, and you don't want that either. So with that, I don't have any more questions. Anybody else, last minute, any other ideas, questions, comments, concerns? Let's get a roll call vote going, please.
You want a motion?
Yeah, let's get a motion first.
What are we going to vote on here? Chair, I'll go ahead and make a motion.
Please, thank you.
I make a motion that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the SUR 2025-002, also the TPLO to go application, and as presented by staff and with the conditions presented by staff.
Second.
And now roll call vote. Now that I'm back in order.
Roll call vote. Kevin Kirkwood,
Aye.
Robert Politic,
Aye.
Dee Dee Shock Grace,
Aye.
John Gresham,
Aye.
Nicole Hunt,
Aye.
Kyle DiNardo,
Aye.
Dan Guthrie,
Aye.
and Ken Madsen.
Aye.
Aye 8, nay 0.
Thank you. With that, we will close the public hearing on TPLO to go SUR 2025-0002. Thank y'all. Appreciate it. And we'll open the public hearing on the Vale rezone RZ 2026-002. 0002. There's a lot of 0002s tonight. And staff, would you like to report?
Yes, just give me one moment to pull up the presentation. Thank you.
Let's go ahead and go recess for 7 minutes. Let's get back here at 8:15. Okay, with that, Mr. Klebaner, would you like to
All right, thank
present
you.
staff?
I appreciate it. Good evening, Planning Commission. My name is Danny Klebaner, and I will be presenting the Vale rezone, which is case RZ 2026-0002. A quick project summary here. This site is located at 43248 Meadowbrook Circle. The site size is 35 acres and the current zoning is agriculture. The request here is to rezone 35 acres from agriculture to agriculture residential. The applicant representative here today is Camille Courtney, and the owners of the property are Jenna Vale and Elbert Aguirre Jr. Here is a location for the project. It is here in the northwest portion of Elbert County. It's about 1.5 miles east of the Douglas-Elbert County line, so just about 1.5 miles from Delbert Road. Look at the zoning map for the property. It is within the Meadowbrook Ranches, which is a 35-acre community that is zoned agriculture. This community has 9 35-acre lots, and this community was recorded in the county in 1993. Adjacent to the south is Parker Highlands, that's zoned residential agriculture 1, and adjacent to the west is Meadow Station. Those are residential agriculture 1 lots. To the north, you have Carlson Ranch, which is another 35-acre community, also with 9 lots that was recorded in 1992. And here is an aerial of the property. You can see the Vale property right here in the middle off of Meadowbrook Circle, just there to the north of Parker Highlands. And one last look at the property. Here you can see a better view of the 35-acre parcel. It's kind of a trapezoid there in the center of the screen, and surrounded on 3 sides by other Meadowbrook properties, and then down to the south is Parker Highlands. So within this site there are some small seasonal freshwater emergent wetlands, and the primary natural features on the property are open grasslands and the several trees that surround the existing residence. The site also features 3 accessory buildings. Here's an image from Today, actually, at the site, you can see the sign here. Here's the residence in the middle. We'll have a couple other views of the property from the road. This view here is most of the property you can see because it's kind of a trapezoid. So you're looking out there is your grassland area. And then here's your actual fence line. And then here's a neighbor fence line from the road. And one last picture, you can see about 1,500 feet down there is the nearest, or is a building from the neighbor. So here is a quick look at your rezone exhibit for this project. Again, 35 acres zoned ag. Moving into the project timeline, this began this year in January 2026 with a pre-app meeting. February 3rd was the community meeting for this project. The application was submitted about 2 months later at the end of March 31st, 2026. There was the main referral in April, and then the final referral was to straighten out some well re-permitting, and that was in June. All notice requirements per our zoning regulations were met with mailed notice, posted sign, and newspaper posting. So for public comment, there were 9 attendees at the community meeting, and comments and questions focused on process, ability for Rattlesnake Fire to serve the additional lots here, what the access would look like. That's more of a platting portion, but that was a question in the community meeting where the access would be from, and what is the minimum lot size for an agriculture residential property. A few comments were also received prior to the application submittal. And those had to do with a few different things. One was a neighbor was told that they could not subdivide their lots by somebody. So there was a question, how is this property able to subdivide? One resident neighbor commented on a housing collapse and potential of vacant lots here if there was some sort of economic downturn, and then just general objection to growth. So here are the referral agencies that responded to our referral requests. And let's move into the review criteria. So this is from Elbert County Zoning Regulations, Article 3C, and they are summarized on your screen. So the first is whether the rezoning is generally consistent with the goals and policies of Elbert County's comprehensive plan. And this is the first of the 6 criteria. So this proposed rezoning is consistent with the residential development goal of the Elbert County comprehensive plan, in that supporting a range of lot sizes and residential densities associated with available roads and infrastructure. This project would allow for 10-acre minimum lot sizes in an area where lots range from 5 to 35 acres. The second is B, whether this rezoning would be compatible with surrounding land uses. So this proposed rezoning would allow for residential agricultural uses, which would be generally residential uses. Surrounding land uses are primarily residential, with agricultural uses also in the area, with lots again ranging from 5 to 35 acres. And compatibility with larger lot agriculture and smaller lot residential is an important consideration. C, whether this rezoning would adversely impact the provision of public services. No referral agencies, including Rattlesnake Fire Protection District, Elbert County Sheriff's Office, or Elbert County Office of Emergency Management, had objections to this application. There are adequate public services to serve this development. D, whether this rezone would adversely impact the environment. Building permit review with public works and septic review for your on-site wastewater treatment systems with public health could identify site-specific environmental factors for citing these features. The Division of Water Resources also reviewed the proposed water supply and augmentation plan, and it was deemed adequate. And then finally, E and F. The letter E is whether this would create unreasonable traffic congestion or burden the existing road system. So this would be from a private road, Meadowbrook Circle. Elbert County Public Works reviewed the application and had no objections. County Public Works staff did not require a traffic study for this rezoning application, which will not require any private road improvements or infrastructure changes. F, whether this will be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the inhabitants of Elbert County. There was no evidence provided during the application review that would raise concerns that this rezone will be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the present or future inhabitants of Elbert County. Moving into some considerations for your decision here today, the surrounding properties are zoned residential agricultural 1 and agriculture. The applicants did address concerns from review agencies, including completing the well re-permitting that was required. The subject property is served by a private road. Evidence of adequate water has been provided, and the development will have, again, individual well and septic systems. So a few potential conditions of approval here. These are our standard conditions. The first is that the sign would be removed within a week. The next is that the rezone will not be effective until any and all fees are paid, conditions of approval are met, and the exhibit is recorded. And then finally, that the recordation of the documents will be within 180 days of any Board of County Commissioner approval. So that does wrap up my presentation for the Vail rezone, and the applicant representative is here to speak and answer any questions.
Fantastic. Camille, would you like to come up?
Thank you, Chairman and members of the Commission. In light of the late hour, I don't have any prepared comments. If you have any specific questions you would like to ask me, we have obviously no concerns about the staff's report and or conditions of approval.
Fantastic. Thank you. We'll probably call on you here in a bit then. I'd like to open the floor for public testimony. If you would like to speak on this rezone, please come to tell us your name, your address, and you'll have 5 minutes.
All right, thank you. I'm John Stephen Jones. I live at 43369 Meadowbrook Circle, adjacent to this property. Thank you for listening. These properties were established at 35 acres. We built this development, a long time ago with the idea that we would enjoy Elbert County, we would have space. Many of us have bought into the enjoyment of ranching and farming on these properties. We are surrounded by other smaller developments, but these properties are 35 acres. For those of us that are nearby, we would not like to see this rezone because this starts to create a development within our development. This breaks the spirit of this community in this area where we are. It sets a precedent, which I think is poor for Elbert County. It's one thing to have, Spring Valley or Independence developing on open land. It's a different thing to start subdividing existing neighborhoods. If you're going to subdivide 35 acres to 10 acres, are we going to subdivide 10 acres to 5 acres? Are we going to subdivide 5 acres to 1 acre? It's not the precedents we want in Elbert County. So I'd urge you to please deny this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Would anybody else like to speak? With that, Camille, would you like to address the concerns?
As I'm sure you're all well aware, over time, people don't need the 35, 40 acres that they originally bought. Kids are raised, horses are gone, cattle are gone. And so we're seeing throughout the entire county. And as you know, I've been here on a number of other clients who have asked me to assist them in this process. And because we have adjacent land uses that are much smaller than we are proposing, we didn't see that it was inconsistent, but ultimately that will be your decision.
Thank you. Want to change it up? You want to start?
Sure. Thank you. I do have some questions. I guess first question I have is does this community have an existing HOA or restrictive covenants?
No.
Okay.
And the county staff has a title report that supports that, obviously. Just not my opinion.
Who maintains this private road?
Well, actually, my client primarily maintains it. But over time, I'm sure several other homeowners have kicked in every once in a while, but primarily him.
Okay, so there's no like shared cost among all of the neighbors or anything like that? No. And then moving forward, is there a plan? Does the applicant plan to stay? He's going to continue to maintain it, or are they, leaving? And if we've got a private road here, what is the plan for maintaining the private road if the applicant is not going to be there?
As far as I know, they're not planning to go anywhere. Their home and their barn is on the remaining 15 acres, and they're going to continue living there. Yes. Yeah. And they'll continue doing what they've done. He also owns a business, as many of you know, called Front Range Landscaping. So he's rather invested in the community, and they're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's all I have for right now.
Fantastic. Robert, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm just looking at the overlay map. So Meadowbrook, right? Meadowbrook Circle.
Yes, sir.
Serves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 properties, or just the properties towards the end of Meadowbrook Circle? I'm just curious.
No, it serves all 5.
It does serve all 5. So everybody has an entrance off of Meadowbrook. Those 5 properties have an entrance off of Meadowbrook. I see Danny and you both nodding. Okay. And he's the one that's currently, maintaining that on the behalf of the neighbors. Okay. I was going to say, could you put up the larger one that shows the parcels, to the north, south, east, west, and the approximate sizes? It was one of the previous ones.
It's clearer on some.
Yeah, that one.
Yep.
Okay. I don't have any further questions. I just wanted to review that one.
Fantastic.
All right.
Kyle.
I don't have any questions. Nicole asked the covenant questions, so thank you.
Okay. Dee Dee? Okay. John?
I have no questions.
Okay. Dan?
No, I don't have any questions either.
Easy enough. Ken?
I have no questions either.
Okay. With that, do you have any
questions?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Don't skip yourself, Kevin.
Yeah. I wasn't planning on it. Today I actually don't have a lot of questions, but it seems a very skimpy plan so far. Based on everything I read, I think there's a lot more. You're the applicant rep?
Yep.
Is the owner here?
They are right here.
Okay, thank you. You too?
Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you. How did you react to the conversation with your neighbor that is not for you subdividing? If you could come up,
yeah.
please.
Gil. Just state your name real quick and speak into the mic.
Yeah, my name's Hubert Aguirre, and my wife and I, we own 43248 Meadowbrook Circle, and we, I have been fortunate enough to own equipment and to maintain the road for the majority of the time. Not that the neighbors haven't pitched in here or there, or things of that sort. So as far as the road goes, it's something that I've taken on, snow removal or everything. You can ask anybody on that. They can't deny it. The other thing is as far as, I don't think that, it's up to you guys, but I don't think it's against the law to cut it up into 10s. And that's what we desire to do with our property. And we'll cut an access road to the road specs of the county that they give us. And, there is, my neighbors, Steve and Tia, Steve that just spoke, I know them and they've been friends of mine for a long time. I could see why they want to keep it 35. They own an equestrian outfit there. And that's their livelihood. But, not all of us make a living in equestrian. So I feel like it's our property. If the guidelines of the county allow us to cut it up, we'd like to be there.
Yeah, we do follow the rule, the regulations, and it is within the regulation. The question becomes, is it compatible? And I think the answer is it probably will be. I mean, you've got enough weight of community areas around you that are around the same size or smaller.
Yes, sir.
And so I get it. I also hate seeing 35 acres cut up, and that's just a personal preference.
Oh, I've always owned 35 acres or better on this particular piece. I just didn't, the way that it sets, and then when it goes towards the road, I didn't think that it was going to hurt anybody.
Right. No, all good. With that, I'll hear a motion.
Chair, I would make a motion. Make a motion that the Planning Commission, recommend approval of the Vale rezone RZ-2026-0002 with the conditions as presented by staff.
I'll second it.
With that, let's do a roll call vote.
Roll call vote. I'm going to start with Ken Madsen,
Aye.
Dan Guthrie,
Aye.
Kyle Gennardo,
Aye.
Nicole Hunt,
Aye.
John Gresham,
Aye.
Dee Dee Schott Grace, Robert Politik,
Aye.
Kevin Kirkwood,
With a grain of salt. Aye.
I 8, nay 0.
Thank y'all. With that, we'll close the public hearing, and we will move on to a working group session. Does it take y'all a minute to get set up?
Yes, sir, it will. And I have a question for you all. Would you like to do text first or map first, or neither or both?
Let's focus on the text.
Okay. Okay.
We need to move through the document.
Okay.
And I think we'll get a little further down the pike when we start talking about the flum.
Okay. I do have the printed out maps though, because you all had asked for those. So
Yeah, you could pass that out, but it's still going to be a matter of.
I did big ones.
Oh.
You can't see the little ones. I did big ones.
Oh, excellent for all of us. So we get to hang this in our office.
Pardon me.
I like it.
Did you declare a recess?
Yeah.
Oh, you already did. Yeah, let's declare a recess. Let's get back here. How much time do you need? About 10 minutes.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay. So 8:46.
Sorry, I must have missed that. It must have.
Should I give it a try?
Fantastic. Thank you. So we ended last working group session, with me talking about going to Dan and telling him no. Dan's a real hard guy to tell him no, strangely enough. Dan McCallum. And so he's asked that we share chapter 1 through 3 as rewritten for us to look at and form an opinion on. So we will share that. I'll send it to Jennifer if Dan hasn't already copied you on it. Okay, so, and give you all the chance to take a read, see what you think. it's still fair game to say no. It's also fair game to say, yeah, this is some good stuff. We can go ahead and recast it. There have been a number of core requests. In response to that, I wrote a version of where we're at in terms of what the timeline looks like and where we're at from a review cycle. So it's out there on the Elbert County website. Take a look at it. Feedback is always a gift, so we'll probably do this again before we finally release. And then we will get to a point where we're doing true public comment, not ancillary public comment through a former PC person. So. Yeah, we'll see that, and I'll share it across the board. I'll share it to Jen. Jen will then basically share it individually with all of us, or through blind copy to all of us.
Mr. Chairman, I thought we agreed that we weren't going to go with.
We did. We're just giving it a second look, and allow people to take a look at it, read it, and form their own opinions. A lot of what y'all saw was from me making or forming my own opinion and sharing that. Give y'all an opportunity to form your own opinion. So, that being said, are we ready? I'll stop talking so much.
We're possibly ready, unless I forgot something. So I have Chapter 10 from the consultant version on the TV screen, and I have Chapter 10 on this screen. The black text is the consultant text from the TV screen. The red text is potentially proposed revisions from Chairman Kirkwood. So it gets a little bit easier later on. This part's a little bit difficult. There are 3 paragraphs in black and then 3 paragraphs in red. So you all can let me know how is the easiest for you all to see and review that. Is that better?
So I'm not going to repeat all that. So, but I refocused us a little bit. I'm ready for it to scroll. Anybody else? That's all it is for that.
We're just going up to the water, drought, and flooding section, right? Are we including all of that as well?
Yeah, just the
first part.
Do you mean to make that side bigger?
I don't think you can get it much bigger without losing some of it.
But only that first section of Kevin's as well.
Right.
I mean, I personally don't mind the Kimley-Horn version. I don't think it's biased one way or the other.
I actually prefer the Kimley Horns position. I think it provides a little bit more balance.
You know, it's easier to say Kimley-Horn when you're not sitting here. You're on Teams.
Why do you think I say KH? Yeah.
No, I just meant it. No, Kevin's staring at me.
I'm sitting right next to him.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't mind Kimley-Horns on this one. I'm kind of impartial.
Fair enough.
Keep it as is?
Keep it as is.
How about the title?
What did we add? Just stewardship?
It was
Yep. Give him a win. Throw it in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Take this out. We'll take this out. And then this is the quote at the bottom of that page on the TV.
Yeah.
It's not a quote, but a call out. Are we okay with that?
I don't know that we need it personally. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about it in depth here in a minute.
Yeah.
Delete?
I don't think we need to delete it.
We'll just keep Ken Madsen's and move that right over into the opening. This is the green one. I don't know if you guys can see it. You can't see it on the screen, but they quote Ken Madsen. It says it's important to our community that future generations will be able to experience the natural beauty. There it is.
I think we need to strike that.
Of course.
I didn't realize you were highlighted in here, Ken.
I said something profound once.
This was produced a long time ago, guys.
Is there more to Kevin's?
Another paragraph. Several more paragraphs. There we go.
Yeah, this is kind of where I stepped up and said the original, or the last water plan that we developed really didn't take into consideration the surrounding neighbors.
And their straws.
Yeah. And to Nicole's point, I got
Verbose.
long-winded.
Verbose.
Well, you did it in bullet points.
Well, some of it.
Yeah.
Robert's a sucker for the bullet
I like
points.
your bullet points. Sorry, I like bullet points.
In this instance, I prefer Kevin's. on what Kimley Horns would be water and flooding and hydrology and flood hazard.
Right here.
The bullet points.
Oh, the bullet points. Sorry. There we go.
I think you just take the top section is a run on into the hydrology and flood hazard portion. So, where I'm describing these kind of things, it flows into the one above it. So I just restacked it a little bit.
Can we scroll?
Sure.
I'm asking the group.
Yep.
Okay.
You can strike Ken's comment.
That's going to be unanimous.
How do you get quoted twice?
No, it's just the one, right?
It's just the one.
It's just the one.
They were just talking about it before we saw it on here.
Kevin didn't have it in his, did he?
I'm sorry. Kevin's is the entire comprehensive plan.
I
You just get the
know.
little sentence.
That is Kevin's quote.
So, Kevin, you didn't have anything for hydrology and flood hazard?
Well, if you go to
That is it. It's inclusive of the flood
the
stuff.
red section up top.
So you're combining both.
He
Yes.
combined
Yes.
the two.
Okay.
That's,
Yeah.
That makes more sense. Okay.
and he calls out
He does the same thing.
bullet points.
I like little stars.
You like the stars from our numerical order, but it's from numerical. I don't remember that.
The bolts in high school.
I vote for Kevin's version.
Yeah, I prefer it already.
Okay. For both sections, how about the title?
I think we need to redo the
I
title.
like Kevin's title is inclusive of all of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go. That's better.
And
Water,
then take
drought,
out that
and
second
flooding.
title. Okay, so we keep this and then take this out.
Why'd you strike the first part of Kevin's?
I like Ken Madson's quotes.
I did it
Scroll
right.
up.
Fine, we
You
can put
struck.
some stuff.
No, that was original. No, that was original.
Yes.
That's the orange. It just changed to red.
Sorry.
It changes to red when I take it out.
Oh, sorry. I thought you just did a plain strike through.
Sorry.
Never mind.
All right, and then Ken Madson's quote. Can we just make it bigger? It needs its whole
Well,
page.
the quote doesn't need to be bigger, but his name needs to be bigger.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I like that.
In
No,
bold.
I'm kidding.
Maybe you should bigger, bold, and underlined.
No, we don't want to.
Picture of his face. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh
We come
man,
to order here.
getting to be a rough group. that on your.
We're
Get
getting
his
pretty
Facebook
tight.
photo. Throw it on there.
See what happens when you get 69% of the vote?
Oh my gosh. So then the next page, I like the hydrology and the flood risk maps. I think we keep those
It's in the
in the comprehensive. I think she's getting to it there.
Yeah, I think we keep those two.
Those are good.
Okay, so let me note that.
Everybody likes names.
And wildfire.
Can we back up to that bullet point section, please? There was one thing in there that caught my eye.
Sorry. There's one thing in there that caught my eye, and that's
Come on, Dan, spin it out.
accumulated. Well, it implied that you have to look at other areas than just the one that the PUD, for instance, that we're evaluating for water. I say PUD, for instance. There's nothing that says PUD up there, but when somebody comes up with a proposal, they have a certain amount of water below that ground, obviously, that they have adjudicated or they're entitled to, and how can we open that up to everything else? I mean, we have to look at that specific issue, and this implies that we should be evaluating other surrounding spaces.
So I have a subdivision that has 19 wells in it right now that all pull from the Upper Dawson. And so, yeah, I know, it's a problem. But as you're looking at it, because these 19 wells pull from the Upper Dawson and they accumulate into one specific area, they actually probably phase out or keep the surrounding neighbors' wells have to be deeper, have to be, follow those patterns. So it's not really fair to them that we're doing this, or that this subdivision is doing this. So it would behoove us as we're building into this and then looking at these new developments, we should be thinking down the path of, okay, so, if they're going into the Upper or Lower Dawson, what's the impact to the communities that surround it? And so what we did was in our water plan, we missed quite a few switches. That may be too micro, but it is something that we need to consider as we're going through this, right? So,
isn't that a state engineer function?
It's more than that, because we have a master water plan that doesn't fully comprehend nor understand how water is consumed. And they look at Elbert County as its own entity and only see the water that's sitting underneath us. Well, that same water that's sitting underneath us is also used by Douglas Adams. Pick El Paso. Pick your poison there. Anybody else that's surrounding, that's local. And Douglas, as an example, has more straws in the water than we do. And they're going to impact us at some point. And they're on a 100-year plan, not the 300-year plan.
But they're drawing typically from deeper aquifers, too.
And maybe. In some cases, they might be.
Or alluvial aquifers from the Cherry Creek.
And others, they won't. Yeah. Sorry, I called Politic out on leaning back in his chair the last one. So, but yeah, I mean, so I'm sitting there going, okay, so we need to be able to consider it. Now, this isn't regulatory. Remember, this is the comprehensive plan, which is a foundation that will build regulations off of. But what does that look like? We don't know yet.
Okay, and I guess that's what I'm getting at. We're
establishing
the framework for the regulations, right?
Yes, that's aspirational and not regulatory.
Okay.
We're going to be in real trouble. I don't know if you really realize how bad. Everybody thinks the water's, it's got fine. We got a 300-year plan. We're going to be just fine. No, you're not. I have been researching the water so much, and El Paso they're absolutely desperate and afraid because they're running out of water. They don't know what to do about it. So
Well,
people could be coming to us trying to get ours. And
There's-
so is Douglas County.
There's very little of the Denver Basin that runs over into El Paso County.
So to get back on track, what is the issue with the bullet point?
My concern, I guess, is that we're getting away from private property rights here by having to look at everything else. The surrounding community property, as Ken would quote.
So are you addressing bullet point number 2, the second bullet point, though, not only on a parcel level feasibility? Because even our water studies, when they have to prove that 300 years water, I mean, they're not pulling it. I mean, that's a cumulative, right? It's cumulative to what's. It's not just parcel. There's 300 years. It's actually the basin.
It's the basin.
So I get your point of property rights, but I don't think. Do you own the water? I mean, does everybody own the water beneath them?
If they purchased it, yes.
Okay, but what's the percentage of Elbert County residents own the water beneath them?
Well,
besides having,
in most cases, it goes with the surface rights. In the case of my place, it goes with the surface rights, and I adjudicate it. So that allows it to be separated as separate property. There is some cases where organizations will.
But let's take your example, right? So your property, you decide you want to subdivide it, you want to build 5-acre lots, 2-acre lots. I don't know how much land you got, but let's just assume it's, get a round number, 100 lots, right, that you wanted to build. And now you've got to consider that your one well, does it fully cover those 100 lots? The answer
Wouldn't begin to.
Yeah,
but it's a
right,
a residential well.
Right, but you've got your own property. You built this structure. It services your house. It services your outbuildings, etc. But it doesn't cover everything in that parcel set.
Of course not.
And so that has to be considered as we're going through this. And so,
but wouldn't you just consider the water that's associated with that surface? In other words, the adjudicated water that I have, as an example, under that quote 100 acres that you put it in, and how you're going to however many acre feet the state engineer deems is within that parcel.
So does that limit the number of lots that you can produce, or does it limit your ability to service a group, and then you have to adjudicate more wells? So that's the kind of question, and that kind of answers that question on both counts.
Well, I guess what you're saying is that if it was inadequate to support the number of lots we wanted to put in there, then you would have to go search for some surrounding water to purchase. Is that what you're getting at?
Right.
Only fair, absolutely.
But we don't necessarily consider that as part of this. So that's why we want to put something like this in a plan, so that we can actually build regulations around making sure that they show the foundation of accurate water supply in the area as it relates to the community itself, not just the private owners, one set.
Well, and I think it's important to remember this is aspirational. It's not prescriptive.
And it clearly
Our
says
zoning regulations are when it's going to get prescriptive.
And it says should, doesn't say must.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll take it a little different angle. So, some of the larger developments, we ask that they go into the deeper aquifers because we don't want them hitting the top aquifer and then causing an effect to the neighboring communities.
I think that's
so
determined by
it's
the state
similar
engineer,
to.
isn't it?
No, that's
No, we've made
Us.
conditions here on it.
Yep. It's done by us.
Okay. Yeah, we've definitely implemented conditions.
So I think that's in line with that. That's how I interpret it.
Let's just bring it back to the core. Do we need to change anything?
No.
Fine the way it is. No.
Okay. Well, let's move on.
Yes.
I thought we struck Ken's quote.
No.
Oh my
We said
God.
make it bigger, and then Dan said add a picture.
Okay.
We're all for that one.
We're good.
Rabbit trails. Rabbit trails.
I'd prefer a picture like 20 years ago, though, if we could.
A much younger Ken.
A much younger Ken would be.
I think it's
be
a
little
fine
more
quote.
aesthetically
We do
pleasing.
want to preserve it for future generations.
Okay, so wildfire risk.
I don't mind.
Mine's
Kinley.
just fewer words.
Yeah, I don't mind Kinley's.
I think they just a little bit missed the point in their paragraph describing the situation.
Yours draws out the cause and effect.
Right.
Theirs did not, and that's why I like yours better.
On the second portion or the first one?
Oh, I was talking about the second portion.
Yeah. Can you scroll back up, see if how it flows? And then back down, please. I think it flows. If you go from Kinley's to Kevin's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it flows.
That's fine. So
Okay. Keep this.
keep Kimley's.
Take this
strike
out.
Keep Kimley's where?
The first paragraph.
Just the first paragraph?
And then take this
Get rid
paragraph
of that
out.
one and then keep Kevin's.
So we're getting rid of Kimley's second and third?
We haven't gotten to third yet.
That's the second. Good, because I was confused about what a wildland urban interface is, because it's one of the images. Does anybody know what that is?
Yeah,
They didn't exactly
a
define
great
it.
example is like when you do homeowners insurance and you have a deck and you don't have the bottom of your deck screened in to protect wildlife. That's part of that WI.
Wild land.
Yeah, but it's all part of that same, the wildland, but it's all part of that same kind of stat. I think it's a stick.
So, like, what does that map mean? Because it's mentioned in the second paragraph. This wildland urban interface.
I think it's the expansion of your encounters with wildlife.
No, it's wild land.
Like the local communities, it's wild land, and that equates to anything that grows on that. Vegetation, mule deer, antelope.
Well, and I know this because one of our properties, homeowners insurance came out and said we're not following WUI because we didn't have that critter protector underneath the decks, which is part of the Colorado state statute that goes with that. Which is why they wouldn't provide coverage unless we put a fencing around a deck.
So how does it create high risk for fire? Or low risk for fire? Do you know,
I
Jennifer?
didn't write it. I just have to follow it.
I know. Do you know, Jennifer?
I know a little bit about it, but I'm not an expert on it. I can tell you that the wildland urban interface is state mandated, state regulations that came down. It has to do with our building code and specific requirements in terms of types of shingles that are allowed, right? Your decking material, it can't be wood, it has to be, right, Trex decking and things like that. It goes as far as the distance from the house that shrubs can be, and then that a different distance for trees and all sorts of things like that. The building department and the fire districts, I believe they made some amendments to it, but it is still in effect. Now, there are questions, as I understand it, about how it's enforced. Right? Fire departments aren't necessarily building code experts, but building department folks are doing building department things. So there are still some issues, as I understand it, to be worked out with that piece of it. The map is another component. So there is a map put out by the state that it covers the entire state, obviously, and it does different levels of risk.
That's the one we're looking at.
And I believe that I believe that that Elbert County wanted to potentially propose to amend the map. I do not know if that has been done or if that will be done or has been approved, things like that. But I know that there were some issues with that. As I recall, most of the county was in the moderate intensity, and so I'm not sure about this.
It doesn't cite the source for the image.
Yeah, the one on the right, intensity
think
scale.
about it this way, right? So,
But different requirements are enacted with the different intensity levels. And most of us.
We watched a wildfire pretty close to where I live. It was grassland fire. It was blowing good, and somebody hadn't cut the bushes up close to the house. And so the fire ran up to the house, caught the bushes, caught the house, and the whole house was completely engulfed in about 20 minutes. Completely. And so I think that's what this is trying to accomplish, right? Create a zone around each house, each area, both for wildlife as well as the protection of the humans that are cohabiting the area.
I don't understand the difference between the two pictures. Does anybody here? Because on the one it says it's fire intensity scale.
Well, I think doesn't that one go into the color, the wildfire resiliency code? Isn't that the same map that they're using for that new code?
It is.
Yeah. Do you want the Grok version of this, the AI?
I guess what I want is, if we're going to include these images, we need to better explain them, because the average person looking at this, it doesn't make sense to me, and I don't think it would make sense to the average resident trying to look at this and see what this means.
So if we focus this and gave a definition, or a better definition in the wording, we could include the maps. But if we don't give the definition, we exclude the maps.
I just think if we want to include the maps, we need to explain them, because it's not intuitive, I don't think.
I think the second paragraph of KH's second paragraph pretty well describes what's in the maps. I wonder if we just should leave what they have listed there with the images.
What does it say on it, Jim?
I'm looking at the second paragraph. Developing patterns also influence wildlife vulnerability, and the rest of that paragraph. It pretty well covers exactly what we're talking about.
Jennifer, can you scroll up on this one just a little bit? Or click, yeah. There, right there.
Keep going. A little bit further. Right there.
Yeah.
So both of these maps are under the wildfire risk verbiage.
Yeah, one is density population, where the risk can occur.
Right.
So where the houses are, where the communities are. And the other one is basically
is natural environment.
The potential for wildfire.
Looks like our whole county is lit up.
There's the Colorado state law that within the insurance company that talks about the stuff that you were talking about, Kevin, where you have to have trees so many feet from the house, or
that's the wildfire resiliency code.
Yeah. Isn't that what most of this?
That's the map on the right.
Yeah, both of them say similar things to Dan's point. If you look, as homes are built further into the rural wooded grassland areas, that's that picture on the left. As we expand into that space where we have all this fire potential, we have to make sure that we have the zoning restrictions, the regulations, et cetera, that help support the control of that. Otherwise, we'll end up potentially burning communities down if we have a wildfire event. Make sense? So both of them say it. You can just pick which one you're liking to play with more. Again, pure words.
I would vote for the KH version. I think it explains the maps and the images.
Yeah, that was the point I was making. I think we need the source. It kind of looks like they screenshotted it and like pulled it in because it's not very clear. I tried to zoom in on it to see better where some of these high risks are, and it goes all grainy.
A GIS map of some sort.
Well,
Yeah.
but I would hope that we could get
I believe they're from the state, but we can certainly confirm.
So
refine it.
Let's get back on track. We do need to refine that. We need
It
to
is
have
on
the
track.
source.
It should have a source.
Yeah. And so, do we want to change anything we've done so far?
I'm fine with the way. Mars, I swear.
I'm fine with what we've changed so far, and then just adding a note to identify the source for both maps.
Okay.
See, it's not just me.
Moving on.
I thought it was just you.
Now you're, yeah. That's,
There
see?
it goes. I needed a lighter touch.
It's Kyle's the 600-pound gorilla.
I was about to break it.
Yeah. Stop using the purse.
Okay.
So for my clarification, are we leaving the KH version there with the images?
Yeah, we're
with the addition.
We're not moving forward with the KH. We've already gone to that point. We're going into this next section.
We kept partial cage right in the top, then we switched it over to Kevin's, and then we're going into the infrastructure portion.
All right.
So Dan, we got a mix of both.
Thank you.
And so the difference between the next two are we need to plan how to develop, or my section, which is less about planning and more about how do we account for the capacity that we already have in place.
So I would vote for this portion to go with Kinley Horns. I do think that we've hit the residential development quite a bit in the last 9 chapters.
Yep, cool. Check. Yeah, agree.
I agree, Kev.
What I liked about it was the public education part of it. You know, but I'll speak more about that later.
I got more bullets.
I see it.
Just saying.
You can't keep winning Robert's vote by putting bullets everywhere.
Are you sure?
I mean, you can. You obviously have.
That's what's happening.
Scroll down a little bit more.
To me, bullet points help identify actionable items. Otherwise, people gloss over when they read.
People don't like to sit there and read a whole paragraph, word for word, verbatim. They want just, give me the highlights of it.
Can you scroll up just a hair to the Do you want to add a bullet point about more public education? It's spoken to up above. I think it's lost without it.
Yep, add it.
How would you write? How would you put it?
You got the concept of stewardship.
Yeah,
but stewardship assumes that you already know how to manage the land. So maybe just above that, you put in a pattern for training on,
Between training about, landscaping and understanding wildfire, characteristics and, what you can do as an individual to help, either prevent it or, help support the suppression thereof.
You got all that?
Whatever.
What about in one sentence? How would you write that out?
This is just language. Ready for wildfire mitigation.
Give me your what's your brain?
Public education for addressing, landscaping concepts, wildfire, prevention and mitigation. Please type in the grok. We'll see what it
else?
spits out.
Keep giving me your brain.
I think you actually got it. Just take out training for and
education and training, public education training for wildfire mitigation techniques, including landscaping concepts, wildfire prevention, wildfire prevention.
And then on the next bullet, you can take out vegetation management and the grazing fuel.
And I'm going to add to the conversation that I actually don't think we need those bullet points, because if you just scroll a little bit further down, we've got a whole bunch of planning direction, we've got goals and strategies, and we pretty much identify all of these things down below.
Those can be taken out. Is that mine or Kim's?
It's in both. But it's after wildlife habitat and open spaces. So I think your planning direction is encompassing of all of these things that we've talked about. But I don't know, we do get into like more prescriptive goals and strategies down below. I like Kimley Horn's paragraph, the one protecting Elbert County's natural environment. I think we'd be fine to keep that.
I like the bullets, but I do think Kimley's flows better.
Okay.
Anybody else?
I agree with
I like the bullet points, but that's fine.
Okay.
This is a little bit. Is anybody opposed if we change the title from wildlife protection to wildlife conservation?
Do you actually like conservation as a word? Just kidding.
I like you better on teams.
And you know what?
Kevin's is
Kevin, you
wildlife
said that-
habitat and open landscapes. That's what he's titled his.
Well, let's see. Let's see if we can trade them out.
He likes conservation as long as it doesn't go with easement.
Yes. I'm telling you, I don't like conservation. If you guys didn't know, I don't like conservation easements.
Yeah, I think Dan's had this conversation with you a few times. He's listening, Kyle.
You want to have another conversation?
Maybe we should change the conservation easements in mind.
Oh, it does say conservation easements.
Well, see you guys
Okay,
later.
so Kevin's not listening, but Dan is.
Yeah, well done, Dan. Yeah, I guess you do get to keep the quote.
I'm just going to say conservation and conservation easements are two separate things. Just for the record.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, I didn't use it accurately, right? So the county doesn't use conservation easements.
Oh, yeah.
So you can strike.
You just strike conservation easements.
Yeah,
Keep
and
everything
it's
else.
still fine.
Yeah.
That should be a tool for the land.
Yeah, it is.
They should talk to me first. I like Kevin's wording.
Mm-hmm.
I like my title better.
So take out this entire section?
I think Kevin's hits it a little more straight to the point.
And I was willing to take out conservation easements.
That's why I voted for it.
Okay, cool.
Open space preservation, I'm willing to allow. But why is that hyphenated?
Where are you at?
Open space patterns.
No, it's like the second to the last paragraph.
Yeah, it's open space preservation. That's fine.
Scroll up just this hair.
Okay. We ready for?
No,
play?
up.
Nope.
The other up.
The other up. Keep going.
Your military up.
Keep.
More?
No. Man, I would hate to have that name, survey respondent.
I was gonna say, how did Ken get a name and then somebody got a survey correspondent?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Our survey.
Apparently, he made friends with Blake.
Okay, moving on.
Do we need to move that quote down to the bottom?
I think it would make more sense, yes.
Let me see where it is.
It's at the bottom of wildlife protection.
Oh, yes, I was assuming that they would place those wherever there was room.
Okay.
But we're keeping it. Is that correct?
Keep it. Yes.
Okay.
I think we're done.
That one, yeah, go to planning director.
And this is kind of follows the same pattern we did for the other areas where we have planning direction. I had trouble with environmental review must reinforce the future land use map. Reinforce might be the wrong word.
That says we don't want any new structures, if I read that right.
Nope, that's not what that says. So the county should avoid approving development patterns that place more people, structures, and infrastructure in areas of known wildlife flood access or water supply constraints. That's common sense. That should be.
I agree. I don't like wildfire though because I feel
Yeah,
the
look
entire
back at that
county.
map.
I
Remember,
know.
the whole county lights
Pretty
up.
much the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it can be restrictive, and you had language similar to that we took out.
Yep.
So I didn't mention it
Strike the
before.
wildfire.
Okay.
I think that's okay.
Just striking the wildfire, yeah. Otherwise, then we are going to dance playing. We
Yeah,
are.
we're
We are
shutting
shutting
down
down all structures.
Fair enough.
Change reinforce to consider.
There we go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
On 5, reinforce change to consider. You probably have to spell it out, but
Must consider or should consider? I think should.
I think it should be should since it's a guiding document.
Mm-hmm.
All good.
Yep. Nice tag team.
Okay.
I like shorter on 10-1. Anybody else?
All good. Change it.
Are we okay with this existing paragraph?
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Right, and keep 10-1?
Yeah, 10-1, I would keep the short one, yeah. I like shorter. I like shorter on that one.
Yeah, but it's not prescriptive enough.
Can we reword it then?
Yeah.
How do we do that?
I think because of the heightened awareness of water resources, saying that we will have periodic, it's not prescribing, but just periodic, would be beneficial to those concerns.
All right, I'm fine with it. Anybody else? It's not a sticking point for me. Not all at once, guys.
Okay, moving. All right.
I'm okay with Kevin's.
Yep, we're leaving that. Okay.
Wait, 10.1.1?
10.11, we're getting rid of Kinley's.
Getting rid of it. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Kevin's.
Yeah.
I would remove groundwater. That way you conserve all water. What about rooftop water?
You know anybody that captures rooftop water?
It's against the law in Colorado.
Yep.
You can capture your own.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, they did open the door for it.
Oh, they did let you do it yourself? For your own?
As long as you don't impact your neighbors.
We had a big 50-gallon thing sitting in up at the cabin, and we got a citation for it. Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, that preserves water too.
Just take groundwater out.
Make it conserve water.
Out of which
Water
version?
efficient development.
I like Kevin's better, so I would take it. Just conserve water and require water efficient.
Yeah.
Yep. Take ground. That's what.
Perfect.
We need groundwater. Yep. I don't have a problem with cages. Not sure we need anything.
Yeah, I did get a little wordy there. Yeah, go to the short one.
Okay.
That out?
Yep.
Yep.
The county doesn't have open space.
Yep, you can strike mine.
Delete.
Yeah. Delete. Because I said conservation easements again.
Fatal flaw.
You know that's an automatic strike, don't you?
Yeah.
You guys are all laughing, but I'm sorry, that's why I chose. Just kidding.
Twisted.
KH is on 10.1.5. It's fine.
Yeah.
Again, I was worried.
I like KH's.
Yep.
Sorry.
I like mine better, even though it is more wordy. Because we need to have the land stewards.
Yeah, water wise landscape.
Kevin's.
Yes. I like Kevin's.
That's fine.
Is Nicole still here?
I'm here. I don't have any.
You're a little quiet over there.
I don't have any critiques of what the group thinks here.
Is someone kicking you, to keep you quiet?
Cage is fine on 10-17.
Okay.
Yep.
I like mine better, but it needs to be unmolded. On 10-2.
I'm sorry, it needs what?
Needs to be, no, I guess it doesn't.
No,
need to
it should be bolded.
Sorry. I'll wake up.
Oh, and the formatting will be
Yeah, it's fine.
handled in there.
I like Kevin's better.
Me too.
Yep.
Okay.
Say the same thing. So
That's good.
I was going to say copy paste.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Something about turnarounds and grades. Right? That's different.
Yeah.
10-2-2.
They're duplicates.
Yeah.
I like the red
uniforms
ones
on
better.
this one. Let's go. You know what? I like Kevin's.
On 2.1, we're keeping Kevin.
Let's
Yeah,
go
we're
with
keeping Kevin's.
Okay.
What's the difference?
It's Kevin's.
It's Kevin's.
Kevin.
Instead of trying to give him a.
Must have been late.
Yeah.
I think, does mine get on 10-2-2? Does it?
It talks about the grades and the turnarounds.
Yeah, is this more regulatory than?
Probably.
I like
I think it is too regulatory.
Yeah, strike it.
Flip a coin.
I like, keep Kinley's.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I like Kevin's. I like up to date.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's the same otherwise. So
Yeah, just
it's
I
fine.
like, I like current better than up to date.
And I was being more inclusive on this one, encourage instead of implement.
I like that better.
I like encourage. Kevin's in that one.
Yep.
Yep. Then you added one.
I know. That's where I got worried again.
We're keeping Kevin's on
Kevin's.
2.5.
Yes.
This is the language about wildfire that is more restrictive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say strike it.
Strike it. Yeah.
Restricted.
I like Kinley's because I feel like we've talked.
Yeah.
We've already kind of discussed this.
Yeah.
Strike it.
I like Kevin's.
Yeah, Kevin's is
Mm-hmm.
nicer. Kevin's is good.
Dan,
You feeling okay?
Hey, you got good stuff.
Can I ask, what is seasonal protections?
Wildlife migrates.
I know. So what is the seasonal protection?
Don't ask.
The turkey's walking across the road.
The turkey with the.
But why did the turkey cross the road?
To get to the other side.
Because it's sitting,
I knew that was coming in.
it's summer.
For Kevin to look at while he was driving.
On County Road 21.
Driving. Yeah, there
We
you
still
go.
have we still have a small population of forest adult, as an example.
Right.
And they still migrate. They still manage through that practice. And, do we give them an ability to cross the road? The answer is no, we don't. Do we want to include that?
Okay. No. All right. That's a good, that helps me. All right.
Kevin's.
Kevin.
I'm tracking with me, Kevin. I've killed more turkeys with my driver's license than I have a hunting license.
I hear you.
Oh my.
I've got about 5 hens and their chicks running around my property.
Aww.
I had 48 today. Did you really? That's awesome to see.
Yeah, it's great when you're eating like grass seed. Love it.
I don't see anything bad with cages.
Yeah, I don't like cages.
Are we ever going to talk about the flow of land across the boundaries, right? So you saw me whine a little bit about it today with going from 35 acres to tens. We put a subdivision in the middle of Ishang, High Egypt, and with no supporting roadway, no supporting infrastructure, and it didn't flow, but it got approved. So that's where I've been going with reduce fragmentation and avoid suburban visual character.
I think you're stepping on landowner rights pretty hard there. Private property rights, we just can't ignore those guys.
I don't think we are, but we are providing an opportunity for the landowner and the Board of County Commissioners to come together and understand what the impact is going to be, the visual impact, the living impact, the infrastructure impact, etc. of putting a high impact subdivision out in the middle of nowhere.
This is where it seems to me like we need to make growth pay for itself, and maybe it would be too expensive.
Sorry about that. Sorry, Mars. Maybe it would be too expensive to put in all of the road and the infrastructure to make that subdivision worthwhile, but that should be the choice of the landowner and the guy who's working on it.
We got a question on the table. Go with Kimley Horns or go with mine. Either one's fine.
Kimley Horn.
And I think you said Kimley's, so
that's only 2 of.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I'm fine with Kimley.
There we go.
All right.
We got Mass.
Okay.
Thank you, Kevin.
You bet.
I like Kevin's.
I like yours. There is no Kimley Horn on this one, but I say we keep Kevin's.
Well,
this is your.
There is 10-3-4. Yeah, we're on 3-4.
3.4?
You falling asleep over there?
No, I don't see it on my paper. I only have 10-3-3.
Oh, is it?
There is no 10-3-4.
What were you doing?
He's just adding. But guys, this is where I was telling you that there is that supporting public education for wildfire preparedness. This is where it's reflected in the goals.
Well, it's part of the strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, on the version on the TV, there's 2 3.3s. Isn't there?
That makes sense.
Yes,
there is.
There is.
There is.
That's why.
Wow.
I still like Kevin's.
Yep, Kevin's on that one.
Yep.
And this becomes redundant with the consider alignment to the future land.
Just remove it.
So you can strike this one.
Now, the real question on 10.3.4 is, would anybody attend any kind of education?
Well done. We met the time to finish chapter.
Hey, we did a whole other chapter.
5 minutes to
That's
spare.
5 minutes to spare.
Yeah. Let's do the next one.
I need to
Let's
grab
go.
my calendar before you leave.
Gosh.
Mr. Chairman, I have a request of this group.
What's that?
I would deeply like to be involved in the conversation about the flume.
You will be.
And I
Not the
can't
what?
be here.
We're going to come back to it.
But let me finish. I can't be here on the 18th. Can we push that to the following 2 weeks?
Yeah, because we're going to finish the text. We're going to finish chapter 11.
That's fine.
Okay.
And
Well, wait, hold on. The following 2 weeks we're at the ag building.
Yeah.
oh,
Is that right? September
4th,
1st.
I think.
Okay, wait. I went to get my calendar.
He was saying that he wants to be involved in the discussion about the map, but he's not going to be here at the next meeting.
18th.
So on the 18th, we were planning to have a special meeting for regs that I haven't completed yet. And we can have a work session after if you all would like to.
is it at the Ag Building?
Not on the 18th. That would be a special one that you're adding. That would be 2 weeks from tonight.
Okay, that's fine. Let's go ahead and do that.
Okay, special meeting and a work session. The
And we'll
September
focus
1st.
for you. We'll focus on the text.
Okay.
Finish
So
that
no
up.
map?
And per your comment last meeting, I don't want to rebuild it, but there's a couple of things I'd like to have an influence on.
That's fine. Sure. Yeah, I again, like I said in the last meeting, I didn't want to relitigate everything that we've already. I'm sorry, relitigate. Everything that we've already got.
That's
already
attorney
done.
talk.
But there are some things that probably do need to be addressed.
Thank you.
Okay, so then what's the plan moving forward after that, Jennifer?
September 1st.
September 1st, we have a solar project. I expect that to be your entire night. I would not recommend a work session after that, and it will be in the Ag Building.
Will there be a potential of a follow-on meeting within the next couple of days after that one? Because it may run
If
long.
it takes more than 4 hours.
Right. So are we planning that?
At this time?
Right. Should we assume that we will have to have a follow-on?
And maybe we'll get lucky.
Can we not?
But are you planning for the building
You
or
all
no?
can do it in 4 hours.
All
But
right, can we do that? Because the first, that's opening archery season, so I'd like to be out of here by the
Sorry,
second.
dude.
it'll be the only item, and we won't have a guest speaker.
Okay.
Okay.
Not unless you're going to share some backstraps.
That's good.
Have some last year, I'll give you.
At the ag building?
Have some from
Yes,
last year?
ma'am.
I'll bring some.
And we want to do the map at the ag building?
No.
We won't be able to do it that day.
No. So
Okay.
when are we going to do the map?
You can do sausage.
The third Tuesday of September, if you want to stick with that, is September 15th.
Okay.
And
I'm
I'm sorry, I'm out of town then too.
out of town that week.
15th?
Mhm.
I'm out of town the 15th as well.
I am too.
Oh.
So there's no
Oh,
quorum.
it'll be a quick meeting.
No.
Kidding.
So-
Jennifer. Just
No.
kidding.
Do we push it to the 29th?
Here, Ken's going to be here.
We're done.
Kevin's going to be here. Robert's going to be here.
That's not a quorum.
Only need 4.
Wait.
Out of 9?
I think
McCallum.
4 is a quorum.
No, we have
What if
9,
five?
we have 9 commissioners.
Yeah,
9
because
commissioners.
remember Dan.
Can we
What's
push
that?
the flume
McCallum.
Can we push the flume conversation?
We need 5, right?
Okay,
For a quorum?
let's be real. It's 9:58. I will make the motion that we adjourn.
Before we do, did we decide we're going to push the flume conversation to the 29th of September?
We haven't decided anything to my knowledge.
We need to decide something.
Yeah, that's fine. 29th. Book it.
I'll better hope I have an out by then.
You will have meetings back-to-back weeks.
That's fine.
Fine.
Yeah,
What is on the 22nd? Wait, what's on the 22nd? No, nothing.
No, it'd be October
Oh, the 6th.
6th, and I expect that one to also be in the Ag Building.
Okay.
So, and you guys, you being the county, you're going to look at, after we finish 11, you're going to go through and clean up the appendix piece, or chapter 12, whatever it's called.
Okay. What?
So instead of us as a group going through the appendix, which should be pretty straightforward.
I think you had a lot of additions.
Yeah, but you can either consider or toss those because they have to align to everything that we've changed. And so Kimley's doesn't necessarily follow with
I
mine.
only got
So you got to merge the two concepts together.
Okay.
Thank you.
So what you're saying is that we don't need to review that
No.
together.
So we do. I don't think we do.
It just needs to be updated to reflect what
my
the new document says.
Correct.
Thank you.
And so that's September 29th. We'll make the October cycle for review with the larger population, with the community.
Assuming the consultants can turn it around for us. They've asked for a couple of weeks to do that.
Do they have any of the other chapters yet or not yet?
No, you all had decided that you wanted to send it to them all at once, and I believe that's what they requested as well.
And I think we needed to do a final review of them anyway. Just make sure they flow.
Yeah, they're not going to turn it around that fast.
Right. It'll
Okay.
I'll say 5
couple
weeks.
of weeks. I think they said 2 to 3, depending
I don't think
on.
they know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
Very true.
They don't realize
Very
how many changes.
Okay, there's a motion on the table.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let's go home.